Today, the 2004 NASCAR Busch season comes to a conclusion under the bright, sunny skies of South Florida. Martin Truex Jr. has already clinched the championship. Now he wants to wrap up the year with a win. The 2004 Busch season has been packed with memories, topped off by Martin Truex Jr. clinching the series championship last week in Darlington. Today, the sun sets on their season in Miami, and these drivers get one last chance to leave their mark on the season. NBC Sports presents the Ford 300, live from Homestead, Florida.
Virginia. Today's invocation will be handled by MRO's Kenny Crosswhite. And please remain standing for our national anthem, performed today by national recording artist Brooke Hogan.
Father, we do thank you for this day that you've given us. We thank you that in this day that you've given us, that you allow us to know you. Father, we thank you for the provision that you make for all of our needs. Today we ask for your protection. We ask for your protection for those that continue to fight, to serve, to ensure our protection here in this country. And Father, we ask for your protection for those that compete and celebrate here today in Homestead, for those outside the track, those inside the track, and those on the track. Father, we ask at the end of this day that you would help us to be thankful people. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets of red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The fans are ready. 43 cars are race ready, including our own Wally Dallenbach. Wally has the 11th starting spot today. If you start counting from the back of the field, the NASCAR Busch Series coming up on NBC. The green flag for the Ford 300 just about 10 minutes away now. Tomorrow, it's the Ford 400, the race that will determine the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion. And our live NBC Sports coverage begins at noon Eastern Time with a special expanded edition of the Discover Card Countdown to Green. We'll tell you how the 5 championship contenders got here, and you'll hear from all of them. Dave explains how 1 point could be worth $5 million. Benny takes you over the wall to show you the pride and patience it takes to be a member of a pit crew. And Wally explains how the championship contenders contenders could face some choppy waters in Florida on Sunday. Noon Eastern time tomorrow, the championship edition of the Discover Card Countdown to Green. We'll see you then. Right now, it's time to send it ups to the booth and deliver you to Alan Bestwick, Benny Parsons, and former series champion Dale Jarrett.
Very nice. I'm sure you appreciate the plugs, too.
Thank you.
Appreciate you joining us today. Dale, you just came off the track. Nice quick change, by the way, after Nextel Cup final practice. You think, based on the conditions you just experienced, these guys have got a big challenge today?
These drivers are going to see a different racetrack than what they saw yesterday morning for their happy hour. The track has a lot less grip. It'll be interesting to see and for us to watch a couple of guys that are going to go in two different directions. Casey Kane's going to go to the top of the racetrack. We know that. He does everywhere that we go. Matt Kenseth is more of a driver that goes to the bottom, somewhere, maybe not definitely all the way to the bottom, but in that middle groove. And it'll be interesting to see who can get to the front first.
BP, the championship's already been won. What's there to race for?
Well, the sponsors. A lot of these teams don't have sponsors. A lot of drivers don't have cars. And the old-fashioned thing, try to win the thing.
Get the trophy. That's what they race for every week, right? That start your engines thing, that's always an adrenaline time for the drivers. Last chance this year, now.
Now race fans, here for the most famous words in racing, our Grand Marshal from World Ford Kendall, Mark Hoppy.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine.
Just one final checkered flag, one final trophy to be won in the NASCAR Busch Series season. We'll see who takes it home at the end of 300 miles. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Ford 300 is brought to you by the next Ford Super Duty, the only truck tough enough to be the official truck of NASCAR. By YJ Stinger, the extreme energy drink. Catch the buzz, feel the sting. And by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. The beautiful Homestead Miami Speedway in South Florida, bathed in sunshine for Ford Championship Weekend. The NASCAR Busch Series portion of the card about to get underway, the Ford 300. Here's how they'll start.
Check it out. On the pole, Casey Mears alongside Mark Truex Jr. Paul Menard, unfortunately, will not start third. He had an engine change. Will go to the rear of the field. There's your man, Casey Kane, DJ.
He's already on the outside, isn't he?
Exactly.
Won't have to go far, but he gets started. Robbie Gordon did not qualify his car. David Gilliland did. Robbie was running the Baja 1000 across the desert in Mexico, so because he had another driver qualify, he will drop to the back on the pace laps.
And there we see Biffle and Matt Kenseth back in row 9. And DJ, you feel like Kenseth will be a car to beat today?
Yeah, he just always seems to, as the race goes on, be able to adapt to the changing conditions. So I think Matt will be a factor in this race before it's over. Michael Waltrip's another one that we see there that's not shy about getting up on that high side, and we'll have a little wider racetrack by the time he and Casey Kane get through today.
He'll dust it off. Row 14, Jennifer Cobb, new name to the NASCAR Busch Series.
Be Mike Wallace, David Reagan, Wally Dallenbach inside of row 17. Let's try to talk to Jennifer Cobb, Benny Parsons. You got me?
Hi, Benny. I got you loud and clear.
All right, Jennifer, this is not the bull rings of Kansas City, Kansas. You ready for this mile-and-a-half racetrack in Miami?
Absolutely right, Benny. It's a whole different scenery. I'm so grateful for my experience at Lakeside 970 Speedways, and even more grateful for Keith Coleman Racing and Vassarette to be here at Homestead with you today.
So what's the plan, Jennifer? Just get one of those veterans and follow them around, try to learn something?
Got a real nice view of Joe Nemechek's bumper, and that don't seem to be a bad guy to follow, so I'm going to try to follow him to the front, get a lot of laps, do the best I can today. Have a good finish, have a good season next year.
Good luck, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Jennifer's a 31-year-old out of Kansas City, Kansas, in her first NASCAR Busch Series race, but far from her first stock car race. In fact, she's run 3 races on the ARCA Series this year on super speedways and got top 10 finishes in all 3.
And she also is an instructor with the Richard Petty driving experience, so she has thousands of laps on tracks like this around the country.
How about 53 cars trying to qualify for the season finale?
I think everybody saw that this is they know this is a fun racetrack to race on, and they wanted to come here and bring it for the last time of the year. And we had a lot in the Cup Series too, so a lot of race cars and trucks here throughout the weekend.
And as they make the first of the parade and pace laps, let's check down on pit road for some final stories before the green flag. Dave Burns, go ahead.
Alan, Casey Kane is the defending winner of this race here in Homestead, and he's not forgotten how to run around this place. On Thursday, he qualified his car in the 4th position. On Friday, he entered a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race here and won. Saturday, he hopes is another good day, and I think you can expect that out of the 38 team. Snyder?
Dave, don't let the uniforms behind me fool you. This is Justin Labonte's race team. 2 weeks ago, Justin's team merged with the Haas team, and they put Justin behind the car at Darlington. This week, he's behind the wheel of a car that could win the race. Justin told me, this is the best I've ever felt in a race car. I can definitely tell the difference in equipment. Just like any good corporate merger, they want this one to pay dividends in the form of a win today here at Homestead. Matt?
Marty, Jimmy McMurray has 3 wins this season with 3 different teams. He's won 2 straight entering Homestead. Now, I asked Jamie when he was on the grid, I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate your chances in your car today? He said, we're about an 8. We weren't quite fast enough in final practice. We made a few adjustments to try to pick up the speed of the car. We think we've gone the right way. We'll have to wait and see. He rolls off from the 13th position, though. He did say the car is very racy. For someone who's usually conservatively optimistic, that's a lot for Jamie. Alan?
You know when the last time somebody won 3 straight races in the NASCAR Busch Series was?
I got a sneaky feeling you're going to tell us.
1984, Sam Ard. McMurray's trying to do it today. 200 laps, 300 miles here at the Homestead Miami Speedway today. And while you're watching, if your computer's nearby, log on to NBCSports.com. Benny Parsons has a preview of tomorrow's Nextel Cup season finale, revealing the biggest hurdle to points leader Kurt Busch winning the title. Does it have something to do with those other 42 cars, BP?
Well, obviously he's always got that problem, but outside forces.
Okay.
You know, so many outside forces. DJ, you've been there. Very distracting.
Man, it can be. It's a great feeling to be in that position, but you can't imagine how many things you find with each racetrack as you're in that position that things could go wrong. But I'm sure that Kurt has a positive outlook on tomorrow. Obviously, he's got a great starting spot, and I'm sure that he probably is going to get the job done. He's done the job for these first 9 races. I would look for him to be hard to beat.
Let's see what kind of job Wally can do today. Just had a look at Wally. Starting a little deep in the field.
So Kenny Wallace?
I've heard y'all say many times it always looks better going forward than backwards on these starting races.
Yeah.
So maybe that's Wally's plan for today.
And if you start 30th and go to 10th, we talk about you.
Right.
If you start 10th and go to 30th, we talk about you. But it's not nearly as good going backwards.
Yeah, I don't like the conversations y'all have. When of course, I don't start 10th much, but
Here's the champion, Martin Truex Jr. Going to take the green flag on the outside of the front row, like to cap off what's been a phenomenal season with a victory.
Yeah, those 2 young men at the front of the head of the points list been very impressive throughout the season. Every type of racetrack, they've been right there battling each other and battling for the victories.
Hey, Benny, here's another trivia question for you.
Go again.
Who won the very first NASCAR Busch Series race at Homestead Miami Speedway?
Matt Kenseth.
No.
No.
Dale
The
Jarrett.
guy that did it, had 3 cars coming to get the white flag. Of course, they crashed over there in turn 3. It was easy for them to pass them.
They were stopped.
Yeah.
So the first ever winner here at this track, man who clinched his NASCAR Nextel Cup Series title here at this racetrack, joins Benny and I today to watch the 10th Busch Series race and the final one of 2004 here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Casey Mears going to lead him down to the start-finish line for the first of 200 laps in this race this afternoon. And like DJ said a minute ago, watch that 38 car to start dusting off the outside lane soon.
I don't think he'll get through turn 2 without seeing some dust flying from his car. He's great on the start of the race, and I would look for him to go right there.
Here we go.
White car trying to take over the 3rd spot is Kevin Harvick. I'm also has Reed Sorensen down on the bottom of the racetrack. Sean Harvey's back there someplace.
That's the 18-year-old youngster we talked to in the pre-race.
Man. Oh, man, look at this. Oh, that was close.
And for the lead, Casey Mears has it. Here comes Kyle Busch.
I was very impressed with Reed Sorensen and his run in Atlanta. He did a great job. Obviously, he had a little trouble at the end, but he looks like he's ready to mix it up early here.
Sorensen back there in the white car, running fourth. Here's 3 wide. Oh, trouble. Turn 3, turn 4.
Oh, no, Jennifer. Look out.
Boy.
We're wrecking in 4. We're wrecking in 4.
That's what you don't hear the spotter say. We're wrecking in 4.
No, that's not. Sometimes you hear that caution and your guys are waiting and they don't want to hear that it's you.
It's like a one-car incident. I don't see any other cars driving away, so.
Well, let's see. We got the Sports Illustrated jinx. They built up North Carolina, and they lost last night.
Alan, don't go that way.
Appreciate you throwing that in there.
David Strimmy, the 14 car on the inside of Jennifer, and I don't know if there was contact or not. I think she just got loose, really.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell from that angle, and it's a place that you tend to fight loose into these corners, and the reason that you fight that is because you try to get the car freed up from the center of the corner out, and so it can get away from you a little bit, especially with low air pressures.
Well, if the object was to get 300 miles of experience today, that has not worked out. First caution out early in the Ford 300 at Homestead. Lap away from the restart here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and the Stacker 2 track fact tells you that you need to stick around till the end of this thing because the person that comes up to win it doesn't usually show up at the front of the pack until late.
You fit that deal, right?
Fit right in there.
Yeah. Good.
5 of the 9 previous races, lap 172 or later, the winner took the lead for the first time.
Let's go on board with David Strimmy and the Goose Pump on board and see if we can see if he made any contact with Jennifer Cobb. There we see her on board, and I don't think so. I think she's got loose.
Yeah. Hard to tell from that.
Hey, we'll find out. Marty.
Sir, BP, I have Jennifer Joe with me, and what happened on that?
When I hate it for the car, I hate it for the team, and for Vassarette, our sponsor. Everybody worked so hard all weekend, and what we worked most on was getting the tight condition out of the race car in the center of the corner, and I'll tell you what, it's out. I don't know if you could tell, we went into the first turn, and it was way loose, and I haven't had that the entire time since I've been here, and I tried to back off a little bit, let a few cars go, get a handle for the car, let the tires come around, and just right there on that outside lane, I could not hold on to it, and I did my best, and wanted more than anything to have a real smart race and finish well, and darn if that didn't have to happen, and it must be in God's will for that to happen, and you know what, as a team we will pick up, we will move on, and we will learn from it.
You did a good job this weekend, though. Going green.
Jennifer Cobb out of the Ford 300. We are back under green.
All right, Kyle Busch gets a good restart, trying to get on the inside of Mears. Takes the lead, or does he? Looks like he does.
We'll call that one for Kyle Busch, Matt.
Alan came on the radio during that caution and told crew chief Lance McGrew the car was a little loose on throttle. He says, but the one car is as well. I'm just going to be patient, bide my time, and I'll make my move when I want to. And after a little bit of silence, someone keyed the mic and said, boy, that sounds like a very mature race car driver. And that voice was owner Rick Hendrick.
We see Shane Meal in that 32 car trying to get by Sorensen in 41. And we were talking before, Shane Meal in this 32 car has been impressive.
He sure has been. I tell you, I've watched a lot of these races and been very impressed with Shane. Now, obviously, the truck races this year, he's done a great job, but been very impressed with what he's done in these Busch cars. Seems to have a lot of talent, a good feel for the car, and really knows how to go fast, certainly.
That high enough for Casey King there, DJ?
He's gonna get a little bit more of that gray gone from there before this is over.
That's the race for 5th place between Kane in the 38 and Meal in the 32. Of course, that 32 team going to switch to Chevrolets for next year with DEI engines and some technical assistance.
Anymore, that is getting the wave of the future in the NASCAR Busch Series, getting some alliance with a NASCAR Nextel Cup team.
Yeah, definitely. I think it shows the advantage there with Martin Truex and Kyle Busch this year, having the support that they have, being associated with Hendrick and with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. It puts you in a different class, and I think that's probably a good move for the 32 car.
Three-way race for the lead now as Martin Truex moves up to join Casey Mears and Kyle Busch. Here goes Casey for the lead, Marty.
Trying to get the lead back, Alan. He told me before the race started the car is very good. They made a couple of changes this morning, and he had the added benefit, just like DJ did, of Nextel Cup final practice. He said we made some air pressure adjustments. Based on that, the track has definitely changed since practice yesterday that we had in the Busch Series.
And here comes the 8 of Martin Truex Jr. Takes over the second spot and sets off after the 1 of Casey Mears.
That's been the scene all season long. Those two drivers, they have not been separated by much on the racetrack all year long. How about the champ, Marty?
This is a race team just having fun this weekend, Alan. I talked to Kevin Bono Manning, his crew chief, this morning. He said, you know, it's a very different atmosphere around here. We're just here to relax, have fun. And the team flew every crew member down here and their spouses. They're all in the pit box. You should see it. It's packed full of people just here to enjoy, soak up, and celebrate this championship. A lot of fun being had by the 18 this weekend.
Kyle Busch, the 5 car, lost another spot to Reed Sorensen. He looked like he had a lot of trouble up at 3 and 4. I don't know what the problem is with Kyle Busch, but everything not exactly okay. Meanwhile, looks to be everything is okay with the 8 car.
I'd say if the 5 was fighting a loose condition, he may be that around these cars in particular and trying to go fast. Once the tires got a little bit of heat in them, he was okay on the restart, but as he got to getting a little bit of heat, then he got looser.
There would be the Kevin Harvick car you mentioned earlier, BP.
That's the one.
A little different look to it this weekend.
That's the 29 ESGR. Childress has run this year with several drivers.
Harvick trying to take 7th away from Shane Neal.
Here we go. Truex got a run off turn 4. And he led that lap only by a few inches, but he was the leader as they crossed the line.
I know they're having fun today, but I think they've had fun quite a bit of the year, the way that they've run and the job this young man's done.
Yeah, 6 wins this year in his first full season of the NASCAR Busch Series. It's a pretty good time.
Harvick still trying to get by the 32 car of Neal. Like he might have him this time.
It's 7th place there, Dave.
And Kevin Harvick just looking for something to redeem his year. Hasn't really won anything at all since his team won, since he won in Vegas earlier this year in the Busch Series. Kevin trying to round out 2004 on a positive note.
Talked with Kevin yesterday in the Nextel Cup garage. He said, yeah, I'm ready for this season to be over. I need to regroup and get ready to go again in Daytona next February.
Meanwhile, here comes Reed Sorensen, all 18 years of him in that 41 car, trying to get by Casey Mears in the 1 for 2nd spot. Dave, this kid is really, really impressive.
And he's gotten his laps here at Homestead already, Benny. They tested here. Crew Chief Brian Patty told me we ran 240 laps here, and then we were out of tires. We would have stayed longer, but we quit 3 hours early because we didn't have any more fresh rubber to put on the car. He ran it right off of it.
Remember a couple years ago when Chip Ganassi said, hey, I'm going to take this kid McMurray and put him in my Nextel Cup car, and a lot of people looked around and said, why? And his second race he won.
I was one of those guys that said why, but he soon showed us why.
Now here's Chip Ganassi saying, I'm going to put this 18-year-old kid in a NASCAR Busch Series car next year.
Yeah, and they put him with a good crew chief, too, and I think that's his, not to take anything away from Reed's talent. He has a lot, obviously, but he's hooked up with a young man that knows how to make these cars go around these tracks.
That would be Brian Patty, who, by the way, has 3 Homestead Miami NASCAR Busch Series wins as a crew chief. The champ, Martin Truex Jr., out in front early in the Ford 300. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Sunny South Florida, NASCAR on NBC, bringing you the Ford 300, the season finale for the NASCAR Busch Series, part of Ford Championship Weekends. Martin Truex Jr. has got it all going his way this weekend. Right now he's got a big lead, and he's going to be the subject of our Trim Spa Be Envied moment. A lot to envy him for, right? He locked up the championship already. He's obviously got a great race car today. He's got all his friends and family down in South Florida to celebrate in the sun.
But the thing I most envy is the fact that he is now a 1 3/4 second lead over second spot.
Yeah, I envy him being able to drive a car like that right here. I'd like to have mine handling like that. Maybe it
cool.
will.
It might. Never know. Take some notes.
And we talked about all the friends, all the family, all the crew members, wives, the spouses, the girlfriends.
Well, that's what this is about, you know, and you like to see that. You got a young guy here that probably didn't have to do that, but he's surrounded by his family and friends, and you know, no matter what you accomplish in this, that's what's going to be meaningful to you at the very end of all of this.
Dale, you remember back in 1999 when you won your then Winston Cup championship here, and what the celebration was like when the day was finally over and you pulled up to that stage down on the start-finish line.
Yeah, I got chills just thinking about it right there again. What a great day it was, and I was fortunate to have my family there too. Very, very fortunate to have them around a lot, but what a special day for us, and I know he knows exactly how that feels.
All right, here comes Casey Kane. This is a battle for the third position. Casey is in 38. Casey Mears in 1.
Yeah, but wait a minute. He's going low.
Well, it's the only option he had. See, Casey Mears had moved up and taken his line away, so he just used another one. Very foreign to him, but he used it anyway.
So third place for Kane in the 38. Behind Reed Sorensen in the 41, who's about 2 seconds behind the leader in the runner-up spot for now. Casey Kane, first NASCAR Busch Series win here 1 year ago. Dave, kind of surprised we haven't seen him back in victory lane this year.
Right now, Alan, and it may mean why he was going for that low line down there. He told his crew that he was good getting into the corner, a little bit tight in the center, and a little bit loose coming off of the corners. The crew was giving him times of the leader, and Casey said, you know, I think the leader's pulling away. Don't give me times. Let's figure out how to fix this thing on the first stop.
Faster than the leader on that lap right there, about a 10th quicker, so I think he's doing okay. That's a tough adjustment to make as a crew chief, though, in trying to fix cars okay at getting in, a little tight in the center, a little loose coming off. I'm sure with a little air pressure adjustment they can probably help that situation.
Little fourth place race here. Casey Mears in the 1, maybe going to yield to Kyle Busch.
Well, looks like Casey Mears is starting to lose the handle on the 1 car. Marty, you see anything to the pits?
Yeah, good job, BP. Tight in, loose off for Casey Mears. And actually, let me correct that. Loose in, tight in the center for Casey Mears. The handle starting to go away for the 1 car. Good observation, BP. Matty?
And the 5 of Kyle Busch, you can see right there on your screen. He came on the radio a few laps ago, so the car is now starting to tighten up on entry. It was loose earlier, but he says he still has major issues on exit. Lance McGrew already formulating a plan on how to fix that car on their first stop.
The issues. I don't like issues, you know. Not a good thing.
And let's just talk about first stops here for a second. Probably around lap 60 if we don't see another caution flag.
That first stop is always a little earlier than they can go because they don't want to run out of fuel, number 1. And let's take a look at those tires, make some adjustments, and head on down the racetrack after that.
Yeah, you really like for that first stop to maybe be under caution where you can make those adjustments, because under green you're going to have to make anything very quickly not to lose any more track time.
Unscheduled pit stop for Mike Wallace under the green flag. Nothing going wrong for Martin Truex Jr., though. He's out in front after 30 of 200 laps in the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Back at Homestead Miami Speedway, caution out for the second time in the Ford 300. Debris on the back straightaway slows the field at lap 31.
And they have to use the access road to make their pit stop. Not able to come in off turn 4. But also, Martin Truex, the leader, can't pass the pace car. Has to ride along and just make sure that he doesn't go by the pace car. Now, when he gets here, he has to observe the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. Matt?
And Kyle Busch's team, BP, waiting for him to hit the pit box. He was 4th on the board. He says the car is twitching up off the corner. They were thinking about pulling a spring rubber out of the right rear, but they're going to leave that in there for later in the race in case the track tightens up. They're going to make a track bar adjustment. Dave?
The 41 car of Reed Sorensen Sorensen was a little bit loose, and then he asked actually to be a little bit looser. So hopefully they're going the right direction on the adjustments here. He hit his pit box square. Marty.
Dave, leader Martin Truex Jr. pitting for the first time as 2004 Busch Series champion. The car tight off the corner, a pound in the right rear tire, and a quick stop for the 8 bunch. They'll win the race off pit road.
And Casey Kane and Brent Sherman have almost gotten together, and Casey Kane could not back up his car, and he's going to go almost to the rear of the field. And we see damage on the right front fender.
That's not good.
No.
You have to come back in and do some work there.
Well, when you got 41 cars on the lead lap and they're all pitting together, traffic can get a little thick, huh? And Casey Kane got the worst of it. Oh, there's a clean look at the racetrack here yesterday. The final Mr. Clean look-alike contest of the season. Picked 2 finalists from that crowd. They went head-to-head in a clean-off using the Mr. Clean Auto Dry system and came up with a winner. So we know who the winner of the Mr. Clean contest was here, but who's going to win the bet between Benny and Wally?
The winner? Very nice job.
Keep it clean.
Well, BP, I'm here to pay off our bet. I didn't finish in the top 5 in the Busch Series this year. Not yet, anyway. But the deal was I got to wash your car. Couldn't find your car. And I'm not going to wash this one. But I will wash this one.
Hey, come on. Hey, Wally, this is BP. You got me?
I do, BP.
That was a mild form of cheating, washing that little small car.
I don't think that was cheating. You never showed up. I just said I'd wash your car.
Well, I didn't have it with me. Daytona, 500 time. I'll bring my SUV over and you can wash it, okay?
Be sure to tell me where to meet you, and I'll be there.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, checks in the mail, right?
Got it.
Good luck. How's the car?
Pretty good. We're just got a big vibration right now in the motor somewhere. So now let's just keep working at it. Hopefully this track will get slicker for them than us. So see what we can get.
All right, good luck, Wally.
Wally with a couple of pit stops under this caution, as did Casey Kane with an extra pit stop. Top left of the screen, BP.
We see him there, the 58 car. His teammate, incidentally, making a pit stop. Casey Kane leaving the pits. They make contact and damage the right front fender on Casey Kane's car.
Yeah, that's up to the crew chief most of the time to get you out of the pits. Obviously, you have to, as a driver, be watching too, but hard to get everything going on in a lot of cars on pit road as we go back to green.
See Mike Wallace on the inside of the 4 car. He had made an unscheduled pit stop for a flat tire. That's what he's doing a lap down. Ooh, the rubbing as it go by.
He's got his hands full there.
See some
Pop a
smoke back
there
in the
from
back.
somebody. Who's that just dropped off the pace? Robbie Gordon, I think. It was Robbie Gordon.
My guess is he made contact and got sideways with someone or all the above.
He's got his hands full right there.
Yeah, a lot of times with the low air pressures and the soft front springs that you run here, they could be really down on air pressure, and you get that as you get into the corner.
Watch the left side of the screen here.
Oh, there we see he makes contact with Mike McLaughlin in 25, and when he jumped out of the throttle, he lost that momentum, and all these cars going by.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the air pressure is if you're going to run into something. You're going to cause smoke, too.
Yeah. By the way, Casey Kane 3rd to 37th after the contact.
Oh, now here's a good, interesting battle between the two. Von Hornaday in the 60 of Greg Biffle. That's for the 6th position, and last week they didn't have very kind things about each other.
No, I wouldn't say they're best of friends right now, but they're going to battle hard on the racetrack right here. Biffle's his cup car is great, and I would look for this car to be a factor before we're through today.
Do I remember the word idiot being tossed around in some of that exchange there last week?
A couple of times, as a matter of fact.
That's what I thought. This early in the race last Saturday at Darlington, racing for a top 5 spot. Hornaday in the 2, Kyle Busch in the 5.
Kyle Busch makes contact, gets Hornaday sideways, and right there, oh, we got a crash.
That's Tim Fedewa, BP.
As we come back to live action. And I tell you what, that's lucky. When you can spin off turn 4 and not running to one of these walls, inside or outside, Timmy, you're a lucky boy.
Tim Fedewa from Holt, Michigan, series veteran. front tire there.
Yeah, be lucky if he can get back to the pits and not have some more damage than that right now. He's okay right now. If he can just get back in and get some new tires there, he'll be okay.
Let me see what might have happened. Top of the screen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, one of two things. He got hit or he got loose.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, he definitely was sideways. And they see you try to make the car better as the run goes on. You have to start the thing out a little bit free. So you're trying to go hard in the middle of the pack. It's easy for that to happen.
I vote for the got loose thing. We'll be back to Homestead Miami Speedway. USA Today is the place for a comprehensive look at motorsports. Get all the latest stats, standings, and race results to keep up with your favorite teams and drivers. Pick up a copy of USA Today every day.
Yesterday's USA Today front page, a picture of Kurt Busch.
Interesting story, too.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Very nice story.
As we were saying about Hornaday and Biffle and Kyle Busch last Saturday at Darlington.
Oh, yes. Let's go back and revisit that. We didn't quite finish that story. We first saw, you see, Kyle Busch, the 5, makes contact with 2, gets him sideways, and around he goes, and about right here he just suddenly stops and knocks the 60 car out of the race. So Biffle gets out in his interview, says that he brake checked the 5 car, just slammed on the brakes in front of him, like right there. And then Hornaday, and he goes over to talk to Gil Martin, the crew chief for Hornaday, and Gil said, go talk to Hornaday. I didn't have nothing to do with it. So then Hornaday got out and said what happened when he started to get back on the accelerator, he missed it.
Okay.
And so, anyway.
Well, he's the only one in there, so we'll have to believe what Hornaday said.
That's right.
It did stop all of a sudden for some reason. I don't know what it was. There's no doubt about that part of it. But.
Isn't it great how in racing, though, whenever you seem to have a problem with somebody, the next week you end up right back around them?
That's usually who I start beside, or that's who I find myself racing right off. But these guys are professionals. They're going to forget about that and go about their business today.
You kind of smoothing out a Rich.
Yeah, that sounded good.
It did. It sounded real good.
Biffle and Hornaday going to race for 6th and 7th on this restart, while Truex has the top spot.
Mike Wallace, the 4-car, made a pit stop, changed tires on that caution flag, so should be a little bit better off.
Yeah. Derek Cope was the lucky dog at the caution, back on the lead lap in 39th place. Casey Kane, more pit stops under that yellow for further repairs. He's way back in the field.
Still working on that right front fender. Meanwhile, Reed Sorensen, 41, is working on the 8th car for the lead. What we saw with the 8 car before, DJ, he better hurry, because once they run about 15 laps, it looks like the 8 car starts to stretch out on them.
Yeah, he seems to be the class as the air pressures get built up in a little bit hotter tire. So, yeah, Reed might want to get that. But they said he'd freed his car up a little bit. This would be the time for him to go after him.
Marty, how about that 8?
Truex does appear to be faster the longer they run, BP, but one thing Martin did ask Kevin Mannion under the caution, he said, why is that 41 running so low? He said he appears to be the line that he wants to run, a little bit lower. He said earlier in the race, the 41 wasn't running that. Maybe he's found something down there. Maybe we should try that for a little while. Dave?
Remember, I reported some confusing information going back and forth between driver and crew on the 41. They actually got it right, because on that last run, Reed came back to Brian Patty, the crew chief, and said it was a little better on that run. They made the right adjustments.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I am too, but it doesn't seem like they are now, and that's the main thing. And it's nice when you have a young man that can give that.
Dave, back us up. What was the confusing information again?
Okay, the report that we got from the team initially was that the car was loose. And so there was a bad radio connection between Reed and Brian Patty. And Brian kept asking Reed, you need to be freed up. And the transmission would come back garbled. And so the decision was made to free him up. And actually, in the end, that was correct. It sounded very confusing to me, too, but that was all the information that we had to work with.
Well, when it's garbled, it's got to be confusing, right? Yeah.
I'm not confused
we got a spin. Justin Labonte, keep it out of the wall. Justin, so far, so good. Hang on. Brakes. There you go. Very nice.
Was in 8th place.
That's two drivers we've seen spin coming off before and not hit anything. These guys are pretty good.
That's not a fire. That's just some raw fuel in the exhaust. The exhaust is about, well, hot enough to ignite the fuel, and once they start it, it puts it out.
We were just talking amongst ourselves a while ago what a great job Justin was doing. A great young driver with a good team there now, so expect to see a lot from him. See what happened.
Let's see who hit who. It doesn't look like anybody hit anybody.
I'm telling you, just the thing that you fight here is the car wanting to get tight in the center of the corner, and then that transfers on to the exit of the corner. And so you work really hard in trying to overcome that. And as you get on these restarts and you're trying to go hard, the car can have that tendency to be loose.
DJ, there he is, all by himself. Is that a big concern for tomorrow?
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, the racetrack doesn't have the grip that it had last year, but you still have the same tendency of what the car wants to do. Part of it is aero, and you're trying to overcome that.
Under caution once again in the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Justin Labonte with a little ride off turn 4. Flag just back in the air in the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Mark Truex Jr., Reed Sorensen, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray are your top 5.
Here goes Busch in that 5 car trying to get by Harvick. He does, uses the 4 car of Mike Wallace as the pick, goes in the 3rd.
After his spin to bring out the caution flag, Justin Labonte made a pit stop. He's back in 37th place.
Yellow car, 66, Jamie McMurray, the winner of the last 2 NASCAR Busch Series races, being followed pretty closely by the 60 of Greg Biffle. Dave, about the 66, what are they saying?
With all the going back and forth between the Cup and the Busch Series garages here, the 66 team was able to pick up something from their car owner. They found out this morning that this tire on this track would take a lowering of air pressures to fix a tight race car. They did that on the last stop, taking Rusty Wallace's advice. Marty?
Dave, meantime for Greg Biffle, it's been a triple-header weekend, driving the Craftsman Truck Series race, the Busch Series race today, and the Cup race, of course, tomorrow. They made 14 changes to the 60 car yesterday, or this morning. Yesterday in practice, Greg only drove 7 laps, the longest run he ever made. Never got comfortable in the car. They threw a brand new setup at it, the California setup that won both races there, and so far, it's looking pretty good, even though he's getting ready to get past right here.
I'll tell you what, he moved up on the high side, and I was thinking he might make some progress. He lost a spot to Shane Meal.
Now here's a guy that we talked about at the beginning of the race, but haven't heard a lot from most of the race. That's Matt Kenseth. Hey, there's a big Band-Aid there, Matty. What happened?
Alan, remember the first caution for debris on the backstretch?
Yeah.
He hit the debris on the backstretch.
Well, that's not good.
Had to pit twice. You can see they could put that big, huge piece of tape wrap on that right front. Now, they pitted under the last caution to top off or fuel, which would allow them to go to around lap 110 to 112. But also, they wanted to make sure that that tape was staying on that right front corner, because it's a big track here in VP. You know, aerodynamics, so important.
Aerodynamics is everything here, so yes. They've done a good job in repairing it, but it doesn't look like DJ had the speed it originally had.
No, I think he's struggling a little bit, but also you get back in this traffic and it makes your car handle a lot different. You start to see things about it that you didn't know before as you get in there. So I think we'll find him working his way back. Matt's a very smart race driver, and I believe we'll still see him work his way to the top 10 before this is over.
Just took over the 25th position from the 21 car of Clint Boyer.
So Kenseth got some work to do to get into contention to pull off this race. Shane Meal kicked off Greg Biffle a couple laps ago. Here he goes by McMurray to pick up 5th.
That is impressive.
Yeah, a lot of talent for that young man. Again, he really knows how to go fast, but I've been very impressed with watching him be able to make the car go fast for a long period of time.
Shane in his 4th race with this 32 team, Matt.
Just climbed into the top 5, Alan. In fact, he said the car was loose earlier. They fixed that with air pressure. He just came on the radio when he was running back in 7th, making his way to 5th. So this car is a ball of fire. His lap times prove it. He is fast on this racetrack.
And you see, that is a Chevrolet from DEI. They started this 32 team all year long has been running the Dodge.
Talking about Matt Kenseth and that debris that he hit earlier, we have pictures.
All right, somewhere right in here We're going to see it. Wow, it just fell off the light.
That's a piece off the caution lights.
Yes. Imagine that.
Clunk. Wow. There's Jason Keller, hit it first time.
We saw that happen somewhere else this year in the Cup race, and they took it down New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And they went out and took the rest of them down, so we didn't have that problem. That's just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's unfortunate.
Create a lot of wind with these cars going by fast, huh?
I'm telling you. And Truex is creating more wind than anybody else.
Yes, by quite a bit.
He's running the fastest.
Got a second lead on Reed Sorensen and a 2-second lead on Kevin Harvick. And Truex has led 44 of the 57 laps that have been run so far. Trying to cap off a championship year with a victory. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. DJ, you've been to the Detroit International Auto Show, right?
I have.
NBC Sports going to do a special show from that particular place. Sunday, January 23rd, all the new car unveiling, some of the concept cars looking ahead to the future. 1 o'clock Eastern Time, the International Auto Show on NBC Sports.
I think that was a 2005 Mustang they were showing there. They're very nice. Yeah, I'll get in a little plug. You can get those at Dale Jarrett Ford, too. Yeah, had to throw something in there.
Yes.
This guy here is really putting a move on everybody. Martin Truex is running anywhere that he needs to and has to and wants to, it looks like.
And he is out in front by 2.6 seconds over second place as we hit 100 miles in this race. Let's go through the field. We will start in the leader's pit, and that's Marty.
It's good sound, isn't it, when your spotter says 2.5 seconds back to the next position. Martin Truex Jr. doing an absolutely outstanding job. Car's a little too tight coming off the corner. That's the only complaint they've had all afternoon. Dave?
Reed Sorensen feels really good about turns 3 and 4. He says, I'm really good there. In fact, I think I'm better than the 8 car. Problem is the 8 car is better in 1 and 2 and a lot of other places on the track. The 29 car of Kevin Harvick, they made an air pressure adjustment on the first stop. Kevin radioed to the crew that the car is better than that first run when it felt tight off the corners. Matt?
It looks like we're finally starting to get a long run that Kyle Busch has been wanting. The car still loose like most of the race. Now Lance McGrew, like we told you earlier, they were going to hold off on pulling the spring rubber. Now they want to pull it on the next stop. Meanwhile, the 32 Shane Meal running fifth. Won a truck race earlier this year. Would love to win a Busch race. Never done that before in the series. His car, he says, is really coming around. He knows what this car will do now after he's had some laps on it, Marty.
Matt, Greg Biffle started 17th on the first stop. They pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear wedge in the right rear. His car was too tight. Since then, the car has come to life, and he's also moved up half a groove on the racetrack, which means the car running better for Greg.
Looks like David Green has blown an engine in the 37 car. Heavy smoke from under the hood, and the caution flag is out. Sorry, fellas.
That is kind of the summation of his season.
Yeah, very unfortunate. David, great race driver, and just seems like you have those years where everything you try is the wrong thing in that department.
DJ, don't let the clutch out, David. It's gone.
Yeah.
Under NASCAR Busch Series rules, they're only allowed 3 sets of tires. Under the caution flag, they can only change 3 sets of tires. They've used 1 already. This early, you think they'll use that second set?
A little bit early, maybe. Yeah, and the thing is as we've seen these cautions start to happen, we see more cautions. So the guys have to think that that may be the way of the afternoons. I'd be surprised if they're going to use that second set right now.
Marty, got an update on 37 car for us?
Well, the day started bad for David Green, Allen. Before they even took the green, he lost the clutch. It seized up on him, so it's been a bad day from the start for the 37 team. The 8 team of Martin Truex Jr. will pit here, guys, so they will be pitting here, the leaders.
Are they going to change tires, you think, Marty?
Yes, they are, BP.
Wow. We got 1 more set.
Good news for David Green is that 37 team announced earlier this weekend that they have a sponsor for next year, and they're going to switch to Fords.
Yeah.
And hook in with the Ford engine program. Right. Well, here they come. This stop's going to be at lap 69. There's going to be 131 laps to go and 1 set of tires left in the pits. So they're counting on some long green flag runs at the end of this thing. Huh?
Wow. Doesn't look like anybody's going to be gambling and saving those tires either.
Okay, Matt.
The plan for the 5 team, do exactly what Martin Truex is doing. When they pitted. Howard Shipwash is going to pull some tear-offs off the windshield. They're going to pull a spring rubber out of the right rear to try to tighten him up even more, although the car did get on that run, Dave.
Reed Sorensen's car still just a little bit tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment to help him. The 18-year-old hit his marks perfectly on pit lane again. Marty?
14-0 on the last stop for the 8 bunch, Dave. A little free to start, snug in the center of the corner, 4 tires. And as Kevin Mannion said, I'm not stupid enough to make a chassis adjustment on this thing. No changes to the chassis. They, however, will not win the race off pit road this time.
There we go. Robbie Gordon, that's a very usual picture coming off pit road. That pit crew is just tremendous.
Yeah, that's big trouble for the
8 car got in to someone there, didn't they?
Who?
I believe the 8 car got into someone leaving his pits. Maybe Justin Labonte. Is that
Nope, Justin saw him coming.
Oh, man. That right front fender looks almost exactly like Casey Kane's right front fender now, I'm sure. Oh, no.
See the look on the crew guy's face when he saw it happening?
Yeah, Sammy said, oh, no, tell me it's not so.
So race leader's got some troubles. He'll be back on pit road with big damage on the right front corner of that car. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Dominant driver in the race is on pit road for repairs.
Martin Truex Jr., the 8 car, made contact leaving his pits with the 44 car of Justin Labonte. There we see tire changes done. Labonte's coming in. There's the contact. Man. And watch Bono. Man.
He's going to leave a mark. So Truex has got a pretty good chunk of work to do there, Marty.
All right, be ready. Guys,
Yeah, Kevin Mannion directing the repairs. They have put 2 pieces on the right front fender and a ton of tape. They also pop riveted those 2 pieces on to the right front fender so they will stay. They're going to come back down pit road. That's the plan right now. Talking over as to whether or not they might make a couple trips down here. But the damage mostly repaired now on the right front of the 8 car.
Marty, they can't come back on pit road. The signal is giving the field 1 lap to go. All he's got to do now is catch up and go back racing again. It's got to be fixed because they're not going to get another shot.
So as we have these cautions and it keeps this many people on the lead lap and having the lucky dog, these type of things are going to happen. Marty, you got something for us?
Yeah, DJ, Kevin Mannion just having a brief conversation with Brian Frazier, the crew chief of the 44 car. He was kind of upset by the way Justin came in, feeling like he didn't give the 8 car enough room. Kevin also kind of upset with himself. He took the heat for that one, saying it was my fault. I should have held you in the pit stall. I saw the 44 coming. I thought he would wait on us, but he didn't.
Well, there you go. And at least he went over and talked to Brian. Said, look, guys, I was yelling. I was mad. We'll get over it.
There are no yield signs on pit road.
No, there's not. And I can't see a thing that Justin Labonte did wrong. He's just getting to his pit. And, you know, again, when you have this many people on the lead lap and somebody, the leader coming in early and you've got somebody pitting right in front of them that was back in the pack, these things can happen. So, yeah, the crew chief, as we said earlier, it's up to him, but everything's happening so quick. You have to make those decisions and those calls very quickly.
The leader's Matt Kenseth did not pit under this yellow.
2 sets of tires to go. See what happens here.
Robbie Gordon challenged by Kevin Harvick.
Robbie Gordon, the 55 car, was in 2nd spot. He's now back in 3rd. Here comes Reed Sorensen, a white car, the 41, right behind Robbie. Robbie likes 2nd spot so much that he's going to try to take it back. Couldn't make it.
Been watching the 29 with Kevin Harvick. He's been one of the cars that's been closer to the bottom of the racetrack than he has middle or top.
Here comes McMurray in the yellow car, 3 wide down the front stretch.
Wow, this is good stuff. Kyle Busch, the 5 car, said, okay. Meanwhile, back to the front, battle for the lead. Harvick, the red and white 29 on the inside of Kenseth in 17.
I don't know that that's going to be much of a fight with new tires against old.
Mike Ford and I were just talking at the end of practice that we believe that new tires are much more of an advantage here this year than what we've seen here in years past. So with the different tire and the racetrack being a little different, I think we might see tomorrow a lot of changing also whenever we could stay out here before.
What Kenseth's hoping is just not to fall too far back through the field, and then he's got an extra set of tires at the end of the race. He can maybe rally up to the front.
Could be a great strategy if his car is good enough to keep him somewhere around, even just in the top 20 would be good enough for him.
All right, Kevin Harvick's the leader, Dave.
And his car didn't need very many adjustments. According to the crew, there were no major adjustments on that stop. Kevin radioed the crew as he left pit road saying, all I can say, boys, is that was a bad pit stop. And by bad, he meant good.
Bad in the best form, right?
Exactly.
By the way, after the extra pit stops for repairs, Martin Truex restarted 34th.
Wow.
So he's back in the middle of that soup right there. That's him with the yellow stripes on the bumper down on the inside. Also, Mike Bliss, same thing, had some contact with somebody on pit road. He gave up 9th spot for an extra pit stop for repairs. He was back in 31st on the restart.
These guys are racing hard.
Boy, they are. That black car in the middle is Tony Raines. They're 4 wide behind them. That's Jimmy Spencer in 74.
That's a caution waiting to happen.
Oh, it is.
And it happened behind them. That's Eric Jones in the 73.
Caution flag is out.
I think his spin off of 4 was quite as good as...
Oh, on the backstretch.
72 car Stan Boyd out of Flint, Michigan. Around he goes. Boy, Stan.
Looking at the left rear quarter panel there, it looked like Stan might have slowed up and somebody behind him didn't.
Didn't slow up nearly as abruptly, did they?
A little failure to communicate there.
Okay, Holly, Michigan. Suburb of Flint.
All right, here's the back end of the caution doubleheader.
All right. Eric Jones. Looks like he might have had a...
No, wait a minute now.
That wasn't Wally.
Wait a minute now.
Did Wally get in the back of the 72? Let's see. We have an onboard to Wally. We'll go on board and see if we can condemn him or not.
I saw the caution light on the fence, came by.
Yeah. A little bit late with caution is out.
Oops. All right, the leaders have bypassed the opening to pit road, so we'll take a break. Under caution. Wally was a bad boy. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Ford 300 is brought to you by Mobil 1, the official motor oil of NASCAR. By the Mr. Clean Auto Dry Car Wash. Never dry your car again. And by Trim Spa. Your dream body is within reach. Just ask Anna. Trim Spa, BNV. We are not envying the flag man today. He's waved the yellow a lot.
The last caution flag, Eric Jones crashed in turn 4, but then as they're coming off turn 2, Wally did not see the caution flag. I don't guess Stan Boyd 72 slowed down. Wally the 35 in the back of him he goes.
Here's one of those behind-the-scenes TV things. Sorry, BP, I was waving at you not to jump on the radio to Wally because he was coming into his pit crew and they were calling him down to his pit stall.
I got you. There he is in the pits.
Yep. But believe me, we'll be talking to him in a second.
Well, let's give Wally maybe a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Maybe the 72 car just had to get out of the gas because he was pushing off of that corner. Maybe it wasn't because of the caution line.
Well. We'll find out. Hey, Wally, BP, you got me?
Yep.
What happened, Wally?
BP.
What happened with you in the 72 car, Wally? Bring us up to date. I think he's ignoring me.
At the back of him when that yellow came out, did some damage to the front. The guy's got it taped up. We're ready.
So was the caution light on and he slowed down for the caution and they didn't warn you quickly enough, huh?
No, when you're running that close to somebody and the caution comes out, it's pretty tough not to get into another car. I mean, we were running very tight and I was right on his bumper, and as soon as he yelled caution, he was going sideways.
Well, all right. Good luck.
had some work to do on pit road to clean up Wally's car. Yeah, it's been that kind of day for our boy. Green flag just back out in the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Kevin Harvick leading Reed Sorensen, Matt Kenseth, Robbie Gordon, and Shane Meal.
And Mike Wallace, the 4 car, continues to try to get a lap back, but he is 2 laps down, so cannot get the Lucky Dog Award. 3 or 4 cars 1 lap down.
Unscheduled pit stop at lap 28 for Mike Wallace in that 4 car. Now they're going to split him.
Yeah, it looks like he has his hands full, and that's always a difficult situation to be in. You're trying to run hard, but you know, there's a reason that you're probably laps down. Your car wasn't handling quite as good. And there goes the 11 car. I think we have to talk about Paul Menard. He had to go to the rear for an engine change. He's doing a fantastic job here today. Looks like he has a very fast car, and he knows what to do with it.
Messing around up there for the 7th spot, Dave.
And how do you strategize yourself back to the front on pit stops? Well, maybe taking a couple of less tires. They did that on the lap 31 caution for debris. They took 2 tires only, made no changes to the chassis. Only slight changes since then for Paul. Car running very well, and now he's got track position.
Very nice.
He's making the most of it. Talk with Richie Gilmore, who runs Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, about Paul Menard last week at Darlington. And Richie said, you know, he's a good kid. We think he's got a lot of talent. Now it's time to see results.
They don't give you much time this day and time. You know, they're looking for it. They give you this opportunity in very good equipment. There's a lot of good race drivers out here, but you see a lot of young guys that are taking advantage of that. We talked about Shane Mill and Reed Sorensen. Paul Menard is another that has a lot of talent. It's just a matter of putting that talent to good use out on the racetrack and getting those results.
Ooh, that was close.
That was close.
Joe Nemechek trying to squeeze in there on Ron Hornaday in the lap car of Mike Wallace.
And Mears able to get by Hornaday. Looks like he's falling back a little bit, Ron Hornaday, Dave.
Actually, BP, I was going to talk about how he's going forward.
What? He's going backwards, isn't he?
Another way you can get track position on pit road, of course, is to have great pit stops, and that crew has picked up 4 and 5 positions on 2 different occasions so far for Ron.
Bad news is he gets back on the racetrack and loses them again.
Yeah, there's not a better feeling as a driver than
trouble. Turn 1, 2 cars into the wall. It's Johnny Sauter and Clint Boyer. And it may not be over yet.
A lot of damage to that 27 car and the 21 as well.
I would suspect that as fast as you're running at this racetrack, you're not going to hit much of anything without getting a lot of damage.
No, you're going to do a lot of damage here.
See what that is dragging under the car.
See if we can see what happened there. We see Boyer going in the corner. He's going to get loose. And just touch the rear of the 27 car. Well, DJ, when you get on the inside of someone, really gets you loose if you aren't careful.
Sure does. The speed that we were just talking about is why that happens. A lot of it, again, you loosen the car up to try to get off the corner, and you get down on the inside, you lose some of that air that you depend on, and next thing you know, you're sideways. And unfortunately, sometimes you take the guy out that you were trying to pass to.
Let's go on board with Mark Truex Jr. in the 8 car. And
watch, spin in front of you, spin in front of you. Go, come on, outside, just clear high. Caution is out, caution is...
12 laps shy of halfway, and under caution for the 7th time in the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Yikes. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Ford 300 is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Life's good between Reese's Cups. By Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. Bush, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Bush Series. And by Aaron's. Drive your dreams home today. A lot of cautions in this Ford 300 so far. Man. This would be a look at caution number 7.
Once again, the 21, Clint Boyer gets on the inside of 27. Johnny Sauter gets loose. And that back end goes up. It just touches that left rear of Sauter, and around they both go.
And ticks him off.
That makes a little mad.
Just a little.
We know because when they both got to the access road to come down to pit road, Johnny Sauter in the 27 told Clint Boyer, "I'm not a happy camper."
No, but this is the last race of the year. We don't want to leave it with a fine, so let's just let him know I wasn't happy.
All right, Marty.
And this is also Johnny's last ride in the 27 car. A lot of left side damage. Johnny, what happened to start the incident?
I don't know. We just got wrecked. I think the car underneath me got a little bit loose. I just hate it for John Cook, everybody. Kleenex, Kimberly Clark. It's been a long year. We've had a lot of good runs. Just haven't been able to capitalize on it. But I just got to get away from the Childers cars, because if I don't, I'm going to probably ruin my career. So hate it for everybody on this team. They work so hard. I just, what can you say? We're in the garage.
Next year, Johnny will be in the one car in the Busch Series. Alan?
He tried so hard not to say that. He tried so hard.
Oh, he was working at it. A lot of work to do on Johnny Sauter's car in the garage, and they're cleaning up the racetrack here in Homestead. Coming up next after the race, the ultimate test of endurance, the Ironman Triathlon. 2-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and a full 26-mile marathon in the same day.
Are those people idiots or what?
I don't, yeah.
112 miles?
I've got something to do tomorrow, and I couldn't be there.
Me too. Man.
Ironman Triathlon next after NASCAR on NBC. Well, we're not quite to halfway in today's Ford 300, and it's been eventful so far.
See Jennifer Cobb, lap 3, the 50 car, in the wall. Her first NASCAR Busch Series start. Her first crash.
Lap 33, Kyle Busch on pit road. Watch left, though. Casey Kane, one of the top cars in the early part of the race. Right front damage with his teammate.
And he has struggled ever since to find some speed in that 38 car. See, Timmy Tittle gets loose off turn 4, spins down on the inside, doesn't hit anything, but does. Bring out the caution flag.
Once again, and another one.
And Justin Labonte having his problems off the turn 4.
Didn't hit anything, brought out a caution flag. Now the big moment here.
No! Mark Truex, who had dominated the race up to this point, makes contact with the 44 of Justin Labonte, and Bono was hot.
The car wasn't the only thing needed repairing. And we got some material on Wally. That was him in the 35. Caution had come out. He didn't get down, slowed down quite as quickly as the car in front of him.
And then with the last caution flag, Clint Boyer, the 21, gets on the inside, gets loose, goes up, tags the 27 of Johnny Sauter, and Sauter says, "Come on, Clint, I wanted to finish this race," and oh well.
Lap and a half from the restart. We'll take a break, come back for the green flag in a minute. Kevin Harvick is the race leader. Back live, Homestead Miami Speedway. Dale Jarrett joining BP and I for the call of today's Ford 300, and we're about to see the green flag again.
And hopefully we'll see some green flag racing for a while here and see what these guys have.
Green flag.
There's been a whole lot of that this last stretch of racing.
Not a whole lot, but these guys are racing hard, and the track lends itself to that good, hard side-by-side racing. So just everybody trying. It's the last race of the year. The guys that haven't won want to get to victory lane.
Ooh, look at this.
Watching every time they have a restart, Mike Wallace in a 4 car gets sandwiched, cars on the inside and outside, and Robbie Gordon, 55, maintains that 3rd position.
Kevin Harvick the leader, Reed Sorensen second.
They're still split Mike Wallace in turn 4.
By the way, NASCAR has just informed Mike Wallace's team that he doesn't need to pull up to the inside of the leaders the rest of the day on restarts. Thank you.
I don't know that Mike's doing anything wrong there. He just, his car's not great, and he's just trying to make the most of the situation.
Well, did Biffle get in the wall off turn 2? He might have. He was very, very high.
Derek Cope also showing some smoke.
I think the engine.
I think the engine is gone.
That'll explain the smoke. Meanwhile, BP Biffle has lost 5 spots in that lap.
Yeah, I don't know if he lost momentum or just made contact with the wall. As McMurray in 66 does go by Robbie Gordon and take over that 3rd position.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Momentum racetrack. Those guys on the outside have a little bit of an advantage, even though we see the leader of the race has been running to the bottom.
There's Shane Meal lurking right behind. How about a replay on the Greg Biffle thing off of turn 2 just a second ago?
There we see the 60 up in the gray stuff. Dust is flying and, yep, make contact. Casey Mears goes over and dodges it on board with Biffle, and we'll listen.
That's not a sound you want to hear.
No.
So everybody scatters around Biffle, and then behind him, Derek Cope has the engine problem, but we stay under green.
And then we see Shane Meal in 32. He goes by Robbie Gordon. Takes over the 4th position. And here comes Paul Menard, that 11 car. What a great run he's got there.
Dale, you were reminding me during that last commercial about the 55 car. Older tires than these guys he's racing with.
Yeah, he does. I think Robbie still has 2 sets of tires left, so that could benefit him if he can hang on up there. And he's doing a great job having quite a bit of older tires than what these other guys do. So that just tells you that Robbie's car is handling very well and is being pretty easy on the tires. So it could be interesting to see how that benefits him later on.
Marty's got more on Robbie Gordon for us. What are they thinking, Marty?
He does indeed have 2 sets of tires left. Car starts a little free for Robbie, gets tight at the end. He came on the radio and said, guys, this car is very good today. If they get a caution within the next 15 to 20 laps, they will take their 2nd set of tires for the day. Dave?
Marty, the 11 team blew that motor early on in the final practice session, so they didn't get much time on the track yesterday. I talked to crew chief Tony Gibson about that. He said, you know, it really didn't hurt us because we did all race trim in a 300-mile test here. That is the setup they went with. It's more of a high-line setup, and so far it's worked quite well for Paul today. Matt?
Now in a 32 car, Dave, they're having some issues with the radio. One of the buttons is hanging open. Okay, now Shane says he thinks he has it fixed. Now one issue that he does have, they were hoping for a long caution because he is burning his cab in the seat. He's asking that the team make a 12 by 12 pad and also have some tape ready so he can try to affix that to the seat to help the comfort of his leg.
Yeah, we've had some cool races the last 2 or 3. We come down here, it's over 80 degrees, so the temperature inside the cockpit of these cars probably elevated to, what, 125 degrees, DJ, maybe?
Yeah, I would say maybe even more than that. What we've seen in the past, if it gets over 80 degrees, you're looking at temperatures in there of about 140 degrees. So if it's right there towards, the seat happens to be on the floorboard, that's only going to get worse as the day goes on.
Now remember, we saw Greg Biffle bounce off the wall a minute ago. He was 7th when that happened. Now he's 24th and fading. Not good, Marty.
He hadn't said a word on the radio, though, about the contact. Alan asked Brad Parrott, the crew chief, what happened. He said, I don't know. I know as much as you do. I saw it on TV. Greg hasn't said anything. They have been fighting a tight race car all afternoon long, though, and that may have played a part in why he ran into the wall.
Well, I tell you, that last adjustment didn't work too well, did it?
No, it did. No, not the wall, certainly. And what happens with these cars in particular, the flare out that you have just a little bit in front of the right rear tire, if you push that in, you're going to lose a lot of your downforce, and that's going to create a tight situation for him. So if he was already tight, he's in trouble.
Kyle Busch trying to claw his way back toward the front in that 5 car. That's 5th place he's trying to take from Robbie Gordon in 55.
But I tell you what, Robbie Gordon's looking pretty good. He has 2 sets of tires. All these other cars only 1. So I like his chances. Here comes Hornaday, the 2 car.
Well, BP, I want to play devil's advocate there with you for a second about that. First, we'll get a report on the 2 from Dave.
Just a reminder that this is the last ride for Ron Hornaday in this 2 car here in the Busch Series, but it's not the last time you're going to see Ron in a Busch Series car. According to his press release this week, he's already entered in the race for Mexico City next spring, and they say they're lining up some other things. Of course, he is going Craftsman Truck Series racing with Kevin Harvick next year full-time, but he won't be gone from this series forever.
2 seasons with Richard Childress, 3 wins for Ron Hornaday, and a couple of top 5 finishes in the championship standings, depending on the outcome of today. Now let me get back to you on that 55 thing. That strategy is going to work great for Robbie Gordon unless we get the first long green flag run of the day right here. If we go for 75, 80 laps now, then that could turn around and bite him, because he's going to end the race with a set of tires in the pits that are unused.
Yeah, that could. I mean, possibly. But over the last 2 days, we've seen a lot of caution flags. Yesterday in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, today so far. Lots and lots of caution.
I couldn't let it go without challenging there. Dale, come on.
No, that's a good challenge, and you know, it's you like to think it's a good strategy. The only other thing, Robbie's going to probably pit when these other guys get their tires also, and then as he comes back to get his last set of tires, he's going to be behind a lot of cars, and even though he has fresher tires, he's going to have a lot of work to do coming from the back. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Tight race for 4th, 5th, and 6th as we check the AC Delco points as they run. Part of what's up for grabs in the final race of the NASCAR Busch Series season today. Also a very close race for the 10th spot, which just like in the Nextel Cup Series is the last place that gets on stage at the Busch Series Awards Banquet in Orlando in mid-December.
Casey Mears, the one car, who was the fastest qualifier, trying to work his way back. Meanwhile, there's a guy they're all chasing, Kevin Harvick.
Right now, Kevin looks to be 1/10 and a half, 2/10 lap quicker than the rest of the guys out there. So a little different line that he's taken, but it seems to be very good for him and the setup that they have. Dave, you have a little more on Kevin in his car?
Yeah, DJ, how does your car like clean air?
Clean air is great.
So is it for Kevin. He loves it out there. In fact, he radioed his crew. Give it about 3 laps to come in, and out in the free air, this thing is great, and so far he's shown it.
What we're talking about in these race cars, they're so dependent on air as a handling tool to push down, give you downforce, press down on the tires, make the tires grip. When you get behind cars and lose all that air, then it becomes more difficult to drive.
Kevin Harvick won NASCAR Busch Series win this year. That was back at Las Vegas in March, first weekend of March.
That was a long time ago in Kevin's mind.
Yeah, yes it was. So there's your leader. Now we're going to look back and find the driver who dominated the first part of this race.
The 8-car, Mark Truex Jr. is back in the 16th position. Come on, Mark. Well, there he is, finally coming off turn 4.
How's the Band-Aid on the right front doing there, Marty?
Doing pretty well, Alan. The right front for Martin Truex Jr. Not bad. He said all the chassis feels fine. There's no problems with that. There's no rub anywhere. And they're coming back to the field. Car's actually pretty fast. He's going to try to get around Mike Bliss and Stacey Compton just a little bit loose. And Martin was tight before, so he's had no real complaints since they put him back out there with that fixed up right front fender.
That's 3 spots right in front of him he might be able to pick up. Kenny Wallace in that group also.
It'd be interesting to see if he can get by these guys. Right now, he's about a half a second off of what Kevin Harvick is running, but he doesn't have that clean air that we were talking about that Kevin has out front.
Robbie Gordon about to lose another spot. Battle for the 8th position, and here comes Nemechek at 87.
Just watching how far he slides on the tires until they all come in and change him again.
Well, Nemechek said he was just his qualifying effort. He was apologizing all over the place for his poor qualifying on Thursday afternoon.
It's been a season of change for Joe Nemechek in his Busch Series program also. Longtime crew chief Brian Patty moving on to head up that Ganassi development program, and Joe basically starting over again in the middle of this season with Gary Putnam and a whole new crew, and they've come on nicely. Got the win at Kansas City.
Yep.
85 laps to go. We're on the far side of the halfway mark. Kevin Harvick's the leader through the field. When we come back, you're watching NASCAR on NBC. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Ford 300 is brought to you by the next Ford Super Duty, the only truck tough enough to be the official truck of NASCAR. By Miller High Life, to live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. And by Nextel coast-to-coast walkie-talkie. Nextel, done. Kevin Harvick getting it done in the Ford 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway as we come up on 200 miles in this race. Harvick out in front by 2.5 seconds, and who's that he's putting a lap down?
Just about to put Wally Dallin back there. Buddy, a lap down. Wally's back in the 32nd position and is a lap down now.
As promised, let's go through the field and update how the front runners are doing. Dave, start us off.
Crew Chief Rick Byers for the 29 car of Kevin Harvick stated the obvious about 10 laps ago. Just keep doing what you're doing. Kevin's response, this car is hauling, and that is the truth. The 41 of Reed Sorensen, he complained that he couldn't keep up with some of the other cars on the straightaways. Crew Chief Brian Petty reminded him, we're running a little less gear than everybody else. Remember, for this young rookie, it's about completing the race and logging laps. As for the 66 of Jamie McMurray, he returned from final practice this morning on the Cup side, frustrated with his Nextel Cup car. Crew Chief Blake Bainbridge told me, I always calm him down with good news, and the best news was the sway bar that he wished he had in his Cup car, we already had in his Busch car, and it's worked out well. Matt?
Shane Meals' dad, Steve, was supposed to spot for him, but a late change has Ross Shattuck calling the shots. Shane says the car is tight. They expect on their final stop to try to free him up. He right now is running fourth, matching his best Busch Series finish this year. And the 5-car of Kyle Busch running in the 5th position on the move. Says the car is just a little too free. He is great in turns 2 and turns great in 3. But Dave, it is just way too loose all 4 when he wants to get in the gas.
No problems reported right now for the 11 car of Paul Menard, other than a little bit tight on the chassis. They're going to make an adjustment for that. Next time Paul is able to pit, they hope that will be their last time. As for Ron Hornaday, again in the final ride with this 2 car, they have been just a little bit off all day. Slight adjustments, just a little bit loose on the car right now. Marty?
Dave, the man who started first, was hoping for a little better than this today. Casey Mears currently running in the 8th position, loose into the corner, tight in the center. He said the middle of the track is a place to be for him right now. Joe Nemechek, 9th position, tight in the middle. They've had radio problems all day long on the 87 car. They can't really hear Joe. It is intermittent at best. This is the car that he won Kansas with just a few weeks ago. Robbie Gordon in the 10th position has those 2 sets of tires to go. Says the car is starting to go away, chattering the front tires, extremely tight. They will pit in about 15 laps. Matt?
Mike Bliss making his final start of the 20 car. Announced earlier this week that Denny Hamlin, young man that ran Darlington last week, will take over this car in 2005. The last 5 races for Bliss, he has scored a win, a 3rd, and a 5th. Meanwhile, the 22 of Jason Keller just dropped to the 12th position, trying for his 6th straight year, finishing top 10 in the championship standings. Not been the season that he'd hoped for. He hasn't won since Milwaukee in 2003.
Ashton Lewis will drive the 25 car next year. His father, Ashton, is closing down the family business, this 46 car. Talked to Ashton this morning about his emotions. He said when the hauler left the race shop in Concord, North Carolina the other day, it hurt. It's very hard this weekend, he said, to see this be the last time. Everything goes to auction December 18th. We have a team meeting on December 1st for a little party, and that's it. That is tough. Marty?
Dave, check this out. Yes, that is Martin Truex Jr. He had restarted 34th. That's how far back he fell at one point in this race. He is currently up in the top 15 right now. They have an incredible ability to recover from misfortune. Kevin Manning, his crew chief, told him, you can still win this race. Car is that good, Matt.
Marty, Stacy Compton in the 59 car just cracked the top 15. His car has been tight most of the afternoon. They just made an air pressure adjustment on the last stop to help. He, like a number of other teams, has 1 set of tires left. Should be pitting anytime between lap 135 and 145.
A nice rally for Tim Fedewa, currently in the 16th position. That doesn't tell the story of his day, though. He spun early on in the race, has rallied from that. Car has been loose for most of the afternoon for Fedewa. Matt?
In the 23 car, Kenny Wallace running 17th. They've made some gains on this car. They also have 2 sets of tires left. Made some significant adjustments on the last stop with both track bar and wedge. He says the car is finally better. It's no longer tight. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, he stopped in for a splash of fuel before he went green. He's running in the 18th position. They have worked their tire management. He now has 1 set of tires left. They will pit with the leaders. And the 33 car, Tony Raines, will run this car next year for Kevin Harvick. Will split the duties with Tony Stewart. His car has been tight most of the afternoon. Slight air pressure adjustment on the last stop to help free the car. He started the day in 32nd. Meanwhile, David Stremme moved into the top 20. Not the best day. Looking for better days next year as they try to build on this chemistry with this 14 team, Alan.
All right, so the top 20 in through the field, and Kevin Harvick building his advantage even since we started through the field. Look at it.
And we see just in 4 laps, he goes from 3.1 seconds to 3.7. So Yes, clean air is good air.
Yeah, it is. And I think the thing that's benefiting Kevin going through this traffic is his car is working really good down on the lower part of the racetrack, and a lot of guys are struggling, and they're up towards the top of the track. So that's not slowing Kevin down as he comes up on these guys to put them a lap down.
Going off the pace over in turn 2, that is Aaron Fike. Little puff of smoke out from behind it. Not sure he's under power at this point.
Doesn't look like he is, but I think he's rolling fast enough he will coast into the pit area. Dave?
You know the drill. Switching ignition boxes, trying to find any fire in that motor, and so far, nothing.
And we stay under the green flag as Fike hits that access road inside turn 3. So, going to see some green flag pit stops here in a little bit.
Wow.
Some of these guys that pitted back at lap 69 won't be too far away. Kevin Harvick putting a lap on Brent Sherman in the 58, and Michael Waltrip in the 99. Mikey stopped under that last caution at lap 90.
Some tires, Dan. That shows you just how good Kevin's car is working.
Yeah.
Dave, what about the 99 car?
They have struggled with that car all day, BP. In fact, they changed the left front shock on a very early pit stop because Michael radioed that the left front was just kind of weird. He said, I thought you were going to put the King Kong spring in the left front, and you didn't. And so they've been fighting that left front all day long.
To Alfred E. Newman on Michael Waltrip's car.
Oh, yeah, what did he do? Alfred E. Newman, that's the mad guy?
Yeah.
That's Michael Waltrip, yes. Appropriate.
About right. So Michael going a lap down to leader Kevin Harvick here as we hit the 200-mile mark in today's Ford 300 and expect to set a green flag pit stops coming up sometime soon. Greg Biffle going to be the first one to hit pit road, and not surprising. Remember, he bounced off the wall a little while ago.
Falling way back. And yeah, the interesting thing here at this racetrack is we still have to use the access road even under green flag stops. So trying to make some time around there where there's not a lot of grip. We talk about the grip has gone away from the racetrack a little bit. There really isn't any grip on the access road. So you want to make some time and get around there as quick as you can, but you have to be a little bit careful.
You don't want to spin out.
No. We've seen that happen here before.
Yes, we have. Marty.
Alan, just as DJ had predicted, they're going to try and fix that fender in the tight condition. Got even worse for Greg Biffle. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, trying to loosen that car up. You see them banging the right front fender out. They also have to work on the right rear fender a little bit to get the tire in there. This is going to be a long stop for the 60 team. They're hoping not to lose a lap here on pit road. As you see the huge wedge adjustment and the track bar adjustment they're making in the rear. Now the left side tires will go on. They think they have the fender damage fixed. They just told Brad Barrett. Now that's in the way, 25-second stop. But they got that damage fixed, and that's critical.
DJ, you talked about as Biffle leaves pit road, you talked about the access road and how difficult it is. Justin Labonte spun, got out of the grass trying to get on the pit road. As we see him now finishing the paint, he did not spin all the way around, just spun out in the grass.
Here we go.
And we have it.
You spoke of?
Yeah. You're trying to make that time. You can still see there's a little speedy drive from earlier that they didn't get blown off of there. Justin did a great job right there hanging onto the car. Slows him down a little bit, though. He'll know better the next time, just how fast he can go.
And back up to speed. Steve Grissom behind the wall and to the garage area in the 24 car.
Kenny Wallace, the 23 car on pit road, Matt.
And you can see the cranking on the wedge wrench in the back windows are already around to the left side of the car. Kenny Wallace taking on a set of tires. He should be good to go. A little bit of trouble on that left rear as the 5 guys are waiting for Kyle Busch to hit pit road. Marty?
And slowly down pit road for Joe Nemechek, who has had radio problems for most of the afternoon. He's also had a tight race car. Joe Nemechek been fighting that. They've made a wedge adjustment. They've made a track bar adjustment today. They've made air pressure adjustments, everything. Still not gotten that car loosened up this time. They will make a track bar and an air pressure adjustment, trying to get that car loosened up for Joe Nemechek. Actually, that's a wedge adjustment on the 87 car for these guys, trying to make that car a little bit better for Joe. This is the car he won with at Kansas. They were hoping for much better today, but they will not have a top 5 result this afternoon, most likely.
Mike McLaughlin in and Robbie Gordon coming onto pit road along with Robert Presley.
Yeah, we're getting ready to have a battle for second here. Well, the guys that are running second and third are coming on pit road right now.
All right, Dave.
The 41 of Reed Sorensen and the 66 of Jamie McMurray both coming in now. Reed has made great pit stop access all day long. He hits his marks again. They will change 4 tires on that car. Slight air pressure adjustment for Reed. Jamie McMurray, no adjustments on that car so far. Trying to win the race off of pit road again. Left side on Sorensen, left side now on McMurray. Both teams saving their best set of tires for the last run. These two leaders of the race, top 10 runners, both off pit road.
And as they leave, here comes Kyle Busch to join them. All right.
In and out.
It'll be exciting to get back on the racetrack. Fresh tires.
And here's the leader hitting the access road over at the end of the backstretch inside of turn 3. So while Kevin Harvick comes in, let's check on the Paul Menard stop, Dave.
And he will pit right now as well, Alan. That car having been very good for them all day, maybe down just a little bit from their primary motor on horsepower, but a very good run so far for Paul. Final pit stop for them. Kevin Harvick coming in now, giving up the lead in the 29 car. These guys are going to make no changes to the car. I just talked with crew chief Rick Byers. They said we did save our best set for last. We scuffed them just a little bit to get that new off of them. They're a good set. We'll put them on and go. Matt?
Shane Meal, they're going to call for a track bar adjustment for the 32. Up 2 rounds, also an air pressure adjustment. He was way too tight as a tire changer on the rear has to jump over the tire. He had his hose hooked a little bit. Still great composure, losing very little time. The lugs are on. A little bit of trouble on the left front. Shane losing a little bit of time here on pit road, and he's away.
Ron Hornaday was the leader and had a little trouble getting into the pits. Same movie you saw before with Justin Labonte. Little trip into the grass, but he got away with it.
He and Mike Bliss both on the pit road making their pit stops.
Yeah, you know, if it's not bad enough that it's really flat over there and doesn't have a lot of grip, then your tires are worn out and they're the hottest they've been, and so all of that makes it very difficult entrance.
Dave?
Tight for the 2 car. Reported loose earlier. It was actually tight. Pit stop now completed for these guys. They picked up positions all day long. Could be the final pit stop for Ron with this crew. Should be today, guys.
There we go, trying to make up those extra seconds, those precious seconds, and oh, darn, I ran out of asphalt.
That's not healthy for that front air dam on the car either.
No, it won't help. I think they said he was tight, so that's not going to help that situation any.
Casey Mears in. Marty?
He hits pit road. The leader, Allen, the car loose in, tied in the center for Casey Mears. They're going to make an air pressure. They were considering a wedge adjustment as well for the 1 car. They decide not to do that. Long time on the right front trying to get that right front tire off. You see the engine going a little steam out there for Casey Mears. Running a little bit hot. About 260 on the water for Casey Mears. They send him off pit road.
Tell you what, I hope they took some tape off the grill because they need to cool that baby off some.
Run along like that. Yeah. The guy that's leading the race now, Matt Kenseth, if we remember back, I believe he came in and topped off with fuel and has tires, so he can probably go for quite a while here.
He's got 25 more laps than these other guys. DJ, very good. So Matt's going to run a while. Michael Waltrip on the same schedule, so he's now up to 2nd place. Todd Bodine is up to 3rd, Stanton Barrett to 4th, and Hermie Sadler to 5th, all on that off pit stop schedule. Then you get to Kevin Harvick now, back in 6th. So what Kenseth needs here is a caution flag before they run too long and Kevin Harvick comes back and gobbles him up.
Right.
54 laps to go. How will the strategy play out? Will someone new emerge near the front and win the Ford 300 today? Just through a set of green flag pit stops, and we check the Aaron's pit summary. Now, the reason Kevin Harvick doesn't come out first after the pit stops is because strategy.
Some cars stayed on the racetrack. They have not pitted yet. And Harvick has worked his way up to the 3rd position.
He's closing in and passing some of the guys who are on the alternate pit stop schedule. But he's got about 17 seconds to make up to catch that blue car right of screen, Matt Kenseth. It was 17. Harvick and the rest of those guys pitted at lap 69. Kenseth pitted at 95. And so they've got another little ways to go here before they'll have to come back in.
Biffle in the 60 car after that pit stop. Yeah. Rush for the wall is currently running in 28th. A couple of laps down.
And the red car just in front of the leader, Mike Bliss. And it hasn't gone very well for him here these last few minutes.
No, that whole commercial period, Mike was spent most of the time on pit road.
Yeah.
Not necessarily stopped.
For penalties.
Yes.
With speeding penalties, 2 of them.
Jamie McMurray in 66 is 6th. Let's see, 41 Sorensen back in the 7th position. But once again, several cars in front of them have not pitted yet. Kenseth, Waltrip, Todd Bodine.
And actually, BP, that was just a pass for position. Hermie Sadler in the 02 that they just went by is one of the guys on the different fuel schedules. So perfect. That puts McMurray to 5th and Sorensen to 6th. Next guy they'll catch that's on the odd schedule is Todd Bodine in the 31. And that will be for 4th place. And Matt Yoakum from pit road is telling us that it'll be about 10 laps till we see Matt Kenseth have to pit under the green flag.
Yeah, just noticing that the 66 and the 41 and the 5 all came out of the pits at the same time, but the 66 and 41 have kind of pulled away from the 5 quite a bit. So I don't know if he may not like the set of tires that he got, or maybe he's just kind of taking it easy here to get some air pressure built up, and then his car will come in.
And Wally was also on a little bit later pit stop schedule.
He had made several pit stops trying to repair the damage to the nose of the car. Put me on some fresh tires. Give me a drink of water. There you go.
Man in a white t-shirt holding the signboard, ready to catch the tire. Look at the helmets. I just noticed that. Colored to be like, what do they call them? Skin caps? Actors wear sometimes. Look at like Mr. Gleam. Yeah, very nice touch. Very nice. So Wally will tell us all about it later tonight, and we can razz him about it all day tomorrow. It's kind of been a long day for him.
It has been a long day for a lot of guys out there. Well, you talked about Todd Bodine when they caught him. Well, they caught him.
And Wally's day is going to get worse.
He get caught speeding.
No.
Bring it this time, Wally, for a pass-through. Bring it this time for a pass-through.
Now, one of the tires was outside the halfway line in the pit box when he left, which is a violation, and he'll come back through.
Well, doggone. There he is. Back
Just
on.
like that. And he's having so much fun right now.
We have a car smoking on the backstretch.
It's Robbie Gordon.
We have a caution.
Yep. Oh, Matt Kenseth.
Wow.
Good thing there's caution. See those pieces just come flying off Robbie Gordon's car?
He's hit the wall pretty hard there.
He's made serious contact with that wall.
We are finished, okay?
We are finished.
How hard you hit it, Robbie? Wow, that hard.
It's like the sideways whenever he hit it. Got the back part of the quarter panel there, so he was out of control.
Ron Hornaday appears to be going to be the lucky dog. He's running in the 8th position. Now we're only going to have 8 cars on the lead lap.
This could not have played out any better for Matt Kenseth and Michael Waltrip.
Exactly.
Make sure everybody's out of the way.
Because they were on the odd pit stop schedule, when a lot of those other guys made green flag stops, they've been caught a lap down by the caution. Now Kenseth is going to have even up tires with these other people who stop. And he only has to race about 8 guys for the win.
Never see the 55 car up against the wall. Don't know what might have caused him to get loose getting in the corner.
Yeah. Definitely was on the entrance of the corner.
But that's what you talked about. That is the problem here. Getting loose, getting in. And when you do, that's the result.
That's exactly right, yeah. Especially you're trying to go hard and make up a little bit of time that Robbie lost as he had those older tires on before these last pit stops.
So this is the 8th caution of the Ford 300. Now, these guys that were just in under green.
Yeah, they're going to get tires.
Yes, I probably will.
They've got a set left. There's no reason to finish this day without, especially now that, especially the guys that are on the lead lap. Now, what may happen with the guys that are a lap down could get interesting here. I would say you're going to have some of them that may stay out to be on the tail end of the lead lap, which always makes for interesting restarts.
Now you're explaining what I'm thinking. Here is the tire violation. Oops. Oops. I missed it. No, don't go. Don't go. See the official waving?
There's a tire. There it rolls.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. Get that tire.
Mr. Clean had his under control up there.
Well, they don't lead. Oh! You see, if he had waited until they got the tire back over to the wall, it'd been okay.
Yeah, I can tell you can do a lot of things as a driver, but keeping up with where the tires are going is not one of them that you need to do.
That car hits the ground, you're going.
That's right.
That's the signal when the car hits the ground. All right. Pit road is open. Matt Kenseth on pit road. Man, we're in second place. Finally, here comes second spot.
He's a lonely boy so far, isn't he? Kevin Harvick did not pit.
On the race.
Wow.
Reed Sorensen does.
Wow.
Jimmy McMurray stayed out.
Yeah, Kyle Busch does. Going back to the handling thing you talked about before. Here's your leader, Matt.
The big issue for Matt Kenseth, he says his car is just way too loose for about the first 18 to 20 laps. Look for them to make a track bar adjustment. You can see the wrench in the back window. Then they go down about 3/4 of a round to try to make him tighter with this short run to the finish. They nixed the air pressure change they were going to make on the left side, Dave.
Crew Chief Jerry Baxter told me that it was pushing bad in the 99 car. They need a big adjustment for Michael if he's going to win this race. They're going to try to do it, chassis and air pressure for Michael Waltrip. Marty?
Dave, a great break for Todd Bodine. This puts him back in sequence with the leaders. The car has been tight, but they couldn't figure it out because they don't have any radio communication with Todd. They would say, is it tight? He would wiggle the car back and forth. Do you want a track bar adjustment? Wiggled it back and forth, but he did not want one, so they made an air pressure adjustment, trying to loosen up the 31 car.
Well, DJ, what happened? You have a progress. We'll get together. We might got to go to commercial. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Sort it all out. We'll look forward to your remarks when we return. How's that? What a mess that was.
Man.
Yeah, it certainly was. Hate to see things like that happening.
And back at the Homestead Miami Speedway, the Ford 300 about to wrap up its 8th caution flag with an interesting twist in strategy that has Michael Waltrip now showing as the race leader. And still to come after these final 37 laps, a little while ago, the championship trophy was brought in fine style.
Man, oh man, how about that cargo?
I like the
great Clydesdales.
I like that.
To be presented to Martin Truex Jr., not the Clydesdales, the trophy.
Yeah.
There it is.
When the race is over.
He might want a few of those Clydesdales. Or the Dalmatian.
Yeah.
Michael Waltrip was just in making a big adjustment. I'm not sure that they weren't moving the rear end housing on his car. They were talking about how tight it was. They may have been sliding that housing back a little bit to try to free the car up.
Going racing in a lap, Dave.
Well, crew chief Rick Byers, of course, had Kevin Harvick stay out on that last stop because they put it under green around the lap 140 area. They can make it to the end on fuel. We were going to talk to Rick, but he's just begun discussing something with the NASCAR official. Let's see if we can get him real quick here. Rick, what's the problem now?
Just making sure we're in the right spot. You know how it can get here sometimes.
You need all the spots you can get, don't you?
Yes, sir. Kevin's done a great job today, and we're really proud of this pit crew. Got us out, got spots every time we come in. So we've got a few laps to go here, and we'll see what we can do.
Always arguing over real estate here in NASCAR, guys.
See, what the problem is, there's several cars in front of him. There's the 32 car, Shane Meal. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. There we see the 29 car. Is he third in line? No, fourth in line. On the outside.
I got 4 cars tail end of the lead lap, BP. 32 of Meal, 87 of Nemechek, 11 of Menard, 59 of Compton. Then the leader, Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe Nemechek chose to be the first car on the inside, so interesting strategy there. They're just trying to get their best hold here and stay in front of the 29 in case we get a quick caution, which we've seen happen here today after we've had cautions and after we've had restarts.
Harvick and McMurray did not pit under the yellow, then the rest of the lead lap cars behind them did. Let's see what kind of a mess this might become as we go racing with 35 laps to go.
And Shane Meal can't get going in the 32 car, but he does want to lose position. He blocked the 11 car of Menard.
Oh, Harvick got him too wide under him. And that's for the lead. McMurray on Harvick.
There's a 17 car with fresh tires.
Oh, wiggle there, McMurray. Harvick hangs on.
That's exactly what those guys out front want to see there, though. Those guys racing side by side a little bit to give them a little distance and a little more time.
Meanwhile, here comes the 5-car. Kyle Busch trying to get by the 17 on Kenseth, and Reed Sorensen trying to follow. Actually, Sorensen thought about going 3 wide off of 2.
Okay, small little prediction here. We haven't seen a last caution flag today.
Oh, they're going to wreck, yeah. They're just trying to find a good spot for it.
Right place in the right time.
Yep.
Sorensen after Kyle Busch. That's for 3rd place. Matt?
Same problem the 17 of Kenseth had. Busch said that it just takes too long for his car to get going. He said, you need to get me going faster. Lance McGrew made an air pressure adjustment to try to help that, Dave.
The 41 team had a set of tires left. They bolted them onto the 41 car. A track bar adjustment to try to adjust the tight condition for Reed Sorensen.
Oop, Kyle had to chase his car up the track to 5. Here comes Sorensen. Got to run to the inside. That's 3rd place.
But that car on the outside, we've seen that before. Get you loose. He had to chase up a little bit, but wisely backed off a little bit to allow the 5-car to go on.
Well, that was the biggest thing. He was out of the throttle for a long time as he chased it up the racetrack and lost a little ground. But he'll be coming back strong here. Matt, he doesn't have the time to be taking 15 to 16 laps at this point in time to get going, because Kevin Harvick's car has gotten going now, and he's on the mark.
We heard Rick Hendrick's comments pre-race, his first day back at the racetrack. He's on top of the pit box watching his driver Kyle Busch try to rally in these late laps and end his season with a win. Good to see Mr. Hendrick here.
Sure is. And if that man there is not an inspiration to everyone, the way that he handles the good things that have come to him in life and in racing, as well as the obviously most difficult times, just look at him and see how he's handled things. And what a great person. And this sport is much better because Rick Hendrick has been involved for a lot of years.
20 years, as a matter of fact, celebrating his 20th year in NASCAR and National Cup racing. All right, McMurray just lost 2nd spot to who? There's Kyle Busch. Then is Sorensen going to try to take over that 2nd spot?
Not so fast, BP. That was a lap car they were working by.
That was Spencer. Yeah. I saw that yellow car, and McMurray's on up there in front of him.
But Sorensen did get Kyle Busch for 3rd.
There you go. There we go.
I got you back.
Thank you.
29 laps to go.
Man, that Sorensen runs on the bottom of the racetrack well. That's
trouble. Turn 1. Got a spinner. Tony Raines. And a caution flag is out.
Guess you won that bet, right?
It's one of those you just can look and tell. Things are getting a little intense.
So who stayed in front of Mr. Harvick here? Shane Mill, Paul Menard,
and Joe Nemechek.
Yep.
So 3
back
guys get the lap back. Yeah.
But they may not have any tires left, I would say.
Still, they get a free 1.5 miles.
That's exactly right.
That's a big help.
So what's happened to bring out yellow flag number 9?
You ever see the 33 car going in the corner on the inside of... Oh, go exactly like Clint Boyer did before in the 21 car. Got on the inside and just lost that air.
Yeah, you could see, I think that was Kenny Wallace that was on the outside, and Kenny held his ground and just sucked the back end right around him for Tony.
All forward, Wally Dolan back, and there we see it.
Inside. Get on the bottom, you're clear.
It's been a long day for our buddy Wally. Kevin Harvick, 28 laps from victory here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Can he hang on? Into the final stages of the Ford 300 and the final stages of the NASCAR Busch Series season for 2004. Homestead Miami Speedway. Some late caution, some late strategy, shuffling up the deck a little bit. Our sales brilliant move of the race. We're going to talk some strategy about Matt Kenseth.
I mean, he stayed out. He played his tire strategy beautifully. And now here he is in the 5th position. But the biggest thing is he eliminated about 10 cars from the lead lap.
Yeah, he changed the complexion of this race totally by staying out there and then with their strategy. And he's got himself in a position. He probably, since his damage to the right front, he hasn't had the best car all day, but he's got himself in 5th position. And when you're in the top 5 late in these races, anything can happen.
I might say it was brilliant strategy. So Matt Kenseth going to see if he can run up here from 5th position in these final laps as the cleanup's about done over in turn 2 where Tony Raines crashed. One more lap and we go back green flag racing. So on the caution flag, Joe Nemechek, Paul Menard, and Shane Neal got back on the lead lap. Remember, they stayed out last caution, restarted in front of the leader, got the brake on the caution. Now they came in, got some fresh tires. Ooh, what was that? Spencer and Harvick just bounced off each other.
I think they were trying to clean off their tires and ran into each other.
All right, Dave.
With Blake Bainbridge now turning the wrenches for Jamie McMurray. Can he do it? Can he get around the 29?
I'll tell you what, he's really good on restarts, Jamie is, and the 21's good on the long run, so we're going to try to do something with him real quick here, but we got a really good car. I'm proud of this Duraflame Dodge, man, and Jamie McMurray, he's a wheel man. We've had a great end of the year, and I'm just looking forward to next year.
All right, Matt.
Dave, 5 wins this season for Kyle Busch. Now, how is the car now? Is it ready to go?
He likes it. So we've just been way too loose with this little Chevrolet on the short run, and it's taken us just about the whole day to get a hold of it. And he really likes the car. That was a pretty short run right there, but hopefully we can hang on and go a little bit further forward.
Owner Rick Hendrick just came on the radio and said, with McMurray and Harvick up there, keep your eyes open. Marty?
Matt, meantime, it's been an interesting day for the 8 team. Kevin, you guys, you told the team we're going to celebrate no matter what at the end of the day.
Yeah, we gotta celebrate the championship all over again, you know, for NASCAR and TV and championship weekend here. But you know, I think we had one of the best cars today, and Martin said this is probably one of the best cars he's ever drove. We just pit road accident. 38 had probably the second best car. He got a pit road accident.
Just remember that for tomorrow's Nextel Cup Series finale. What little things can take a good championship car out of contention.
All right, Blake talked about it. McMurray is very good on the restarts. Here he's trying to take that lead on the restart. Bumping each other. He and the 29 of Harvick.
Harvick knows if he can stay in front right here that he's got clean air once again, and his car has been really good out front.
And he holds off McMurray.
Alan Jansen. For now. Reed Sorensen trying to get away from Kyle Busch and deal with the Jimmy Spencer car, 74, not on the lead lap at this point. Jimmy's back in 30th place. And Casey Mears with an unscheduled late pit stop. Marty?
Alan, he had just come down pit road 2. He came on the radio after the green flag, said, I have a cut right front tire. Got to come and take some tires, guys.
All right, here we see Kyle Busch is going to make a battle for that position. 3rd spot. Takes it away. Sorensen just having all kind of trouble getting by Jimmy Spencer in the 74 car.
But as you look ahead from Kyle Busch's car, he's already lost a good chunk of ground in the top 2 if he's going to get up there and try and challenge for the win.
Yeah, he sure has.
He needs a caution.
Yeah, you have to be pretty impressed with young Reed Sorensen right there, though. You know, it can get a little bit aggravating at times. You're trying to go by a lap car, but he used his head. He realized that was a position that he could get himself into trouble. I think he probably some of the experience that he had at Atlanta with lap traffic and stuff has served him well here. So if he learns that quickly, he could be a force to be reckoned with in the Busch Series for next year.
Dale Benny, why are these young kids? I mean, Dale, when you came up through the Busch Series, it was a long time to get a ride in somebody else's car that you weren't finding a sponsor for yourself. You know, why are these young kids getting these great opportunities these days that didn't happen 10, 12 years ago?
Now, I think you have to look back to a number of years ago, basically when, I guess it was Bill Davis originally brought Jeff Gordon and gave him an opportunity there, but it was really Rick Hendrick and his organization that said, we're going to take this young man, there's talent there, and we're going to put him in first-class equipment to see if he can get the job done. And I credit Jeff.
Oh,
yeah, we have a caution in turn 2.
That is Brent Sherman.
Brett's from the ARCA series and had done a great job all day long. I don't know what happened there.
Boy, and Harvick did not want to see this caution flag.
Oh,
did not want to see it.
Every time he stretches it out a little bit, we bunch him back up.
Paul Menard came down pit road as that crash was happening, Dave.
Alan, they asked him if he had fuel pressure, and he said no. Oil pressure, no. He said it just died on me, and it will not restart. That's a shame, too, because he restarted 10th on fresh tires. They had pitted. They had a set left, and he was coming back up through the field.
And the 8 car, Martin Truex Jr., team car to this 11. We've seen all the trouble he had, how good a race car he has. He is the Lucky Dog Award winner. He will be in the 12th position on the lead lap.
So what happened to Brent Sherman?
Well, there's nobody there to blame, is there? Man. DJ, getting in the corner looks like it's going to be a real problem tomorrow.
Can be a real problem. Again, you fight the tight in the middle and tie it off so much that the things that you start doing to free the car up is going to free you up on entrance and getting to that center. So you're unhooking the back a lot of times to try to make the front end turn, and that's exactly the kind of situation that you get into.
That's the result when he gets too loose.
Exactly. Wow. And you get that combination with a set of tires that may be looser, and then you're really sideways before you know it.
So the 10th caution of the Ford 300 is out, and we've still got some late laps drama to play. Can Kevin Harvick hold on for the win? We'll be back. Five drivers, one race, one championship. The Ford 400, NBC, noon Eastern time tomorrow. Can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be a great race, race within the race, and 5 guys that are championship caliber drivers, and should be very interesting. But you got to like that guy in the front. I know that Jeff's won his championships, and he's going to be hard to beat. But Kurt and his team, I think, have shown that they're ready to bring forward their championship here on Ford Championship Weekend.
I knew there was a tie there somewhere.
There you go. Yeah.
But we've seen today pit road could be a story tomorrow.
Isn't that? Yeah. I mean, you think so much about what's going to happen on the track, whose car's going to handle best, who's not going to have any problems on the racetrack. But we've seen pit road be a huge problem, and we've seen that here in the past. So these guys are going to have to be extremely careful, and everybody on top of their game on pit road as we get through 400 miles tomorrow.
So we talked just a moment ago about when you lose your radio and you can't communicate with the team. There must be some kind of hand signal you can give them for loose or tight or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of goes all the way back to the days of Junior Johnson and my dad racing, where they had to communicate a little bit with a signboard, but they told each other, or the drivers would tell the pit crews by either tapping on the roof or on the door whether the car was pushing or it was loose, so they knew to make the adjustments from there. And now it's hard with the way the cars are and the window nets. It's a little bit hard to get your hand all the way to the roof, so you almost use the A post for one signal and the door for the other.
Mike Ford understands now, if you lose your radio communication and you take your hand outside and you start patting up on the top side of the A-pillow, the car is tight.
Yeah, exactly right. So, it's a little bit primitive, I guess, but it's the only way that we have to communicate sometimes.
Here we get ready for the restart now with 15 laps to go in the Ford 300. Kevin Harvick leading, Jamie McMurray and Kyle Busch. Jimmy Spencer, the first lap car to their inside. Remember on the last restart?
I remember.
McMurray had a shot.
I remember.
Harvick.
Yes, I do.
He couldn't pull it off.
No, it'd be really interesting to see if he got in front, if that clean air would work as well with his car, and how much trouble it would be for Kevin to try to get back by.
I tell you what, if he gets alongside the 29 car, I'll take the 5.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll slow down enough that the 5 might get a good run on him.
And he looked pretty good there on the last restart. So a lot to happen. I still don't think the 41's out of this either.
And how long does it take for the leaders to clear the lap traffic and be able to race among themselves? Is there any gap put between them trying to get around? We shall see.
Kevin's pretty good on these restarts. I mean, as far as getting up through the gears and things, I've raced with Kevin for a number of years here, and he knows how to get on the gas. But I know I'm pretty sure he's going to be protecting the bottom here as Jamie's trying to work that.
15 to go. Top 2 cleared the traffic.
Kyle Busch, the 5 car still. Spencer moves up in front of him. Now Jimmy moves over, allows the 5 car to go.
Damage is done.
Yeah, let him get away a little up too much. And as fast as Kevin and Jamie are, it's going to have a hard time going back to him.
So a race for first and a race for third at this point.
Well, Tom Bodine's done a great job with that car today, too. A little strategy there on his part, but he's got himself in fifth position right now.
Yeah, same thing. Was one of the guys running in the back, topped off the fuel, stayed out on the long run, caught the caution at just the right time. Hey, luck's a part of this business.
Yes.
You know, I might be imagining things, but it looks to me like the 5 and 41 are closing up on the 66-29. Last time by, Kurt Busch was quicker than the 66. What are they saying in the camp of the 66 car, Dave?
And I know you mean Kyle Busch, BP, that 5 car coming on really strong in the third position. In the 66, though, you've got motivation and momentum from the last 2 weeks. Remember, Jamie McMurray, one of the hottest drivers right now in NASCAR, having won the last 2 Busch Series races. That is helping propel him toward the 29. Matt?
Dave, he is side by side with the 41, young Kyle Busch under that caution. He said, remind me, I need to have you tell me about rear downforce, and also I've got something I want to tell you on front springs, but I don't want to say it over the radio. And then Lance said, just write it down. He goes, I don't have a Sharpie. I don't have a little case like Jeff and Jimmy do in their cars with their sunglasses. Lance said, look, you don't need a Sharpie. The only thing on your list should be the 66 and 29. This car is so much better now on the shorter runs. He just doesn't have a lot of time to get there.
The 5 car, if he didn't hit the wall last time, he scared it to death as he came off turn 4.
Well, Jamie McMurray's moved a little more to the top of the racetrack here, and I believe he's going to give Kevin a fit. Kevin has been running on the bottom and protecting that, and Jamie's car looks like it's really come to life right now.
Oh, trouble, turn 1, got one in the wall. Caution flag is out. Shane Meal. Yellow flag 11 for the then 11th place car.
DJ, I'm seeing a pattern here. Get it in the corner.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
So normally when you sit down and you watch these NASCAR Busch Series races, I assume in your motor coach or whatever, you're watching for patterns like this and trends you can pick up that you might store away in your mind for Sunday?
Yeah, what I try to watch as much as anything, of course, Mike Ford will be watching also, and he'll look at more of the pit strategies and the tire strategies. Myself, I'm looking more at the situation as to where guys are having problems and where guys are able to pass and not pass. And this type of situation is exactly what I'm looking at, which we've seen a lot. Once again, getting into the corner.
Looks like he's by himself. Just get down the corner, and he's got it so loose to get off the corner. Around it goes.
Yeah, and you know, it's late in the race. He's trying to make as much time as he possibly can. See him enter.
Wow. Caution's out. Caution's out.
On board with Mark Truex.
Looks like just a loose race car. You know, it just followed in, and the 8 wasn't right on his bumper, but it's probably close enough that it took a little bit more of that air away from Shane's car. And again, they've got it freed up here for the end of the race and trying to make it go as fast as they possibly can.
Let's see if just a moment ago I talked about the 5 car. If he didn't hit the wall, he scared it. He touched it, just ever so gently touched it.
I was happened to be watching that at the time, and Reed Sorensen in the 41 had followed Kyle all the way through turns 3 and got right on his bumper and looked like he really had Kyle pretty loose at that point. He did a great job of saving and hanging on and still in third position.
Well, not a lapse for some of these guys to try and do something with Kevin Harvick while the pace car's in front of the field. NBC Sports next, the 2004 Ironman Triathlon World Championship. They'll go swimming, they'll get on the bikes, they'll run the marathon, and they will do far more than I could ever dream in my life. I'd have a hard time doing all that in a car in a day.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lay on the couch with some Powerade and watch them do all of that. What do you think?
Good idea. I like your thinking there, DJ.
Ironman Triathlon next after NASCAR here on NBC. Well, we saw Jamie McMurray just start to try and do something with Kevin Harvick when that last caution came out.
Yeah, he changed his line around the racetrack, and it looked like it was working for him, DJ.
Yeah, it really was. But you could see Kevin change his line. He's going to have a hard time getting around Kevin Harvick here, because Kevin's very good at knowing what his car will do and what he can do to block Jamie's advances in trying to pass him.
How about the second place car, Dave?
And that's what they've been talking about on the radio. Jamie is fairly sure he can win this race. He says, I think it's going to be me or the 5. I think the 29 might not have what it takes. But they also noted that the 29 is moving up as the 66 moved up to block that move, DJ, as you talked about. So it's going to be close. Jamie also said another interesting thing. If I go under him into turn 3, I'm not going to lift until he does.
And then the 5 may be sitting in a good spot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Is that 95 inaugural here we talked about where you were running what?
Yeah, you don't always have to be leading to win these things at the end.
You were running 5th going into turn 3 with a couple laps to go, and all of a sudden there you were, the leader. I'll be darned.
And this restart will be single file. Within 10 laps at the end of the race, they don't allow these cars to double up on the inside, so they won't have lap cars to worry about.
No, they don't have that to worry about. And Kevin got a really good jump the last time and got out actually a couple of car lengths. But this time you're going to have the guy's nose to tail. And the draft does come into play here. So even if he gets that out there a little bit too far, maybe the 5 could push the 66 right up there and get a run on him.
So they're going to get the 1 to go signal this time. So that'll be at 7 to go. So the restart will be at 6 to go. And just because of the pattern of the way today's race has been, let me also remind you about the green-white checker finish that could show up before this thing is over. While we have a minute under the caution, let me tell you about the AFL on NBC. I know you've seen some of those games, right?
Right, yeah.
Coming back to the network this January, the year of the quarterback last year. Let's see, we got Mark Grieve on the left and Cedric Bonner on the right and Tony Graziani, and boy, they throw the ball around. And it's back on NBC this coming January, the AFL. Look forward to it.
All right, signal's being given to the cars. 1 lap, 1 more mile and a half, and they'll throw the green, and may the best man win. Or the luckiest guy.
Yeah. All of these guys are good, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I say, I think the most interesting thing could be is if the 66 does get beside the 29, the 5 is in a pretty good spot. And it'll depend a lot on who wants to drive it in there. Of course, Jamie's already said he's not lifting, so.
And you got an 18-year-old back there in 4th place.
Yeah.
Sometimes not knowing any better is a good thing in these kind of situations, right?
Yes.
Jason Keller.
And his final laps in that car. One of the drivers who's been racing for a sponsor, racing for a ride all day. No firm 2005 plans yet. How about that 3rd place car, the 5, Matt?
And that young driver, Kyle Busch, has really impressed a lot of people this year, almost winning the championship. He will have to, really, when you look at this record book, the officials are going to have to rewrite the record book if you look at all the records that he has broken this year, but he wants 1 more. That's the most wins by a rookie during their rookie season. He's tied with Greg Biffle's record. A win today will break the record. He'll own it with 6 wins. He's sitting in 3rd.
And he is the bestest rookie of the year this year in the NASCAR Busch Series. Talking about the 5-car Kyle Busch.
Only person he really had to impress was his car owner, Rick Hendrick, and he's obviously done that, who has rewarded him with a Nextel Cup ride for next year. So the young man's moving forward quickly.
How quickly can he move forward now in these final 6 laps? Green flag. That's Kenseth on Todd Bodine. That's back for 5th place. Bodine in the 31.
What happened, Sorensen, the 41, did not get a very good restart. The 31 was right behind him, and when he slowed to avoid hitting him, he lost momentum, and the 17 car drove on the inside. But here comes the 5 car. McMurray's not able to get up on the back bar for the 29 this time.
And that's exactly what Kevin Harvick wants to see, is those guys racing for second, to see who can try to get up there and battle him.
Not to wish anybody bad luck, but remember last November's Nextel Cup race here at Homestead?
Yeah.
When the guy who looked like he had the race well in hand cut a tire down off turn 2 on the last lap? Let's not give the race to Harvick quite yet.
No. That's why we run all 300 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And And you know that Kyle Busch, the driver of this 5 car, his owner is back at the racetrack for the first time in about a month. He wants so much to take him to victory lane. I don't know that he has enough race car to do it today.
Sorensen's caught back up to him.
Yeah, he is really fast. But going forward from this point is going to be a little more difficult.
So Kyle Busch driving for Rick Hendrick, trying to wrestle second place away from Jamie McMurray.
Now, I think having those cars right behind Jamie has made him change his line a little, because he doesn't want to give anybody that inside line that may get on to have a chance of taking that second spot away from him. So he's changed the way he's had to drive just a little bit.
We got a crash off turn 4.
Mike Bliss, caution's out.
Oh, no.
Overtime coming up.
Green, white, checker finish coming up.
I'm seeing more now why these things happen, because you sit up here and talk about this stuff's going to happen.
Dale, I just talk about things based on my experience watching you guys race for so many years.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could just see things coming.
Yep.
So Mike Bliss's time driving for Joe Gibbs will come to an end in a way he did not care for. Talk with Mike on Friday. Doesn't know what he's doing for next year.
Yeah, driver with a lot of talent. Looks like he got a little help right here.
Boy, did he ever.
He did. It's Tim Fita winning at 12. Who got spun out earlier in the race,
On board with Greg Biffle, and you'll see him go by the spinning car of Mike Bliss.
It's easy to sit here and say that, well, he just ran into him. Yeah, the possibility is there that Mike Bliss had to get out of the gas just a little bit or something, and then they got into the back of him. So you don't know those things. They're the only two guys that know really what happened, but it did look like there was some contact.
I think I probably know what Mike Bliss thinks happened.
I'm pretty sure of that, too, yeah.
So 12th caution out in this race, and that's not a record yet for this thing. Got a little overtime coming up. Dave, getting nervous down in the leaders' pits?
Yeah, we might be setting a record for restarts here. Rick, how many more can he endure?
Well, we've had way too many, I can tell you that. You can tell Benny that we've been the ball way too long when he gets this game over with. So, but he's done a great job, and he's doing a great job on the restarts. And I know he can do it. It's just a matter of getting this thing over with.
Last restart, he told his driver, that was awesome. Keep it up. Matt?
Sitting third, trying to score win number 6 this season, so a lot of conversation back and forth between you and your driver about the restarts.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a little bit of a brake check or just a misjudgment or something, but it's kind of stacking up a little bit on the restart, and they're squirting out from us a little bit, and Jamie's watching where we're going. So Kyle said he goes low, Jamie goes low, he goes high, Jamie goes high, which, hey, I don't blame him. It's 4 to go, and we're going for the win here.
What did Mr. Hendrick tell you?
Mr. Hendrick just said out of the sky, it's really lovely today, and he's really glad to be here, and we're glad for him to be here.
I think we're all glad for him to be here.
Just trying to check my notes to make sure fuel isn't an issue for any of these guys with these extra laps.
The same thing.
With all the cautions we've had, it shouldn't be, but yeah, I don't know.
All right, Burns, talk to Blake again.
Made my way down to his pit box. Blake, a few restarts before, he looked pretty good. Last one, he didn't look as strong. What's going on?
Hey, he's just getting a little bit tight on him. He said Harvick got him a little bit on that restart. He just snookered him a little bit, but man, these guys had good pit stops all day, and this team's done, it's come a long way, and we're just proud of Duraflame and Jamie. He's doing a really good job for us. Hopefully, we definitely have a top 5 today.
Does he have to use a high side, Blake, or can he take him on the low side?
He's working any side he's got right now. So low's good, but right now the top's just a little bit too tight.
Harvick snookered him last time. He's going to try to take Harvick and see if he has a block move as well, guys.
Ricky Byers a few years ago said the car he was working on said, BP, you guys aren't talking about our car enough. If we're running well enough, you've got to talk about it some. I said, Ricky, you got to be the ball. What do you mean? I said, well, camera always follows the ball in sports. And in racing, we follow the leader most of the time. So be the ball.
Makes perfectly good sense.
So today he has been the ball.
Watch this. Some days after your race car gets crashed, I would imagine that almost be a little frustration venter, huh?
Yep.
Oh, we got a little surfing about to come up here.
Oh, he's trying.
New sport? No.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah. By the way, DJ, the fuel thing, Harvick last stopped at 142.
Yeah, he should be okay then, because we had a lot of caution laps in.
Yeah, about half of them have been caution, I think.
Yeah.
And he's been awful good on these restarts.
So we are getting ready to go back racing for a green-white checker finish. New to NASCAR, it's NASCAR's version of overtime. If the race is under caution as it approaches its scheduled distance, this is new for this year, by the way. They line them up once the track is cleaned up. They drop the green flag, run one lap, wave the white flag, which is the one lap to go in the race signal, and then they come back around and take the checkered flag and finish the race. If there is a wreck somewhere in there, that's it. It's over. They have to throw the caution for any reason.
One shot. My guess is that we haven't seen our last wreck.
Restart is going to be at lap 201. So we'll have a few miles of overtime to end the NASCAR Busch Series season. A little bonus racing for fans of the series in 2004.
It'll be interesting to see. Now, this is probably, I haven't kept count, but the third or fourth time that we've had this restart with Jamie behind Kevin Harvick. And if Kevin has been trying to do kind of the same things, Jamie may lay back and anticipate where Kevin has been leaving from. But I'd look for Kevin to change that up a little bit right here and try to get a little better jump.
Restart line.
2 laps.
Looks like he might have caught him by surprise a little bit, which isn't surprising to those of us that know Kevin and the great racer he is.
Great restart for Harvick.
And once again, Sorensen, the 18-year-old kid in 4th spot, did not have a particularly good restart. He will learn over time. That will be better. And here comes the 66, McMurray.
He doesn't have the 5 right on his bumper right now, so he can try to make that move on the outside without having to worry about losing second spot.
White flag, final lap of the 2004 NASCAR Busch Series season. McMurray trying to make it 3 straight wins to end the year. He drives for Rusty Wallace. Can he get a win from Kevin Harvick driving for Richard Childress?
Right now, that 66 might be just a little bit faster, but faster and passing 2 entire.
Wow, look at him driving into turn 3.
Can he make it stick? No! Final shot off the corner, not going to be enough. Great try by McMurray, but Kevin Harvick wins the Ford 300. They're going crazy behind him. There were 3 wide passes on that last lap. Ron Hornaday picked up a couple of spots to 7th place.
And Todd Bodine hangs on for a great 5th place finish.
Boy, McMurray, I don't think he backed off on that last corner.
He wasn't backing off, but Kevin did the right thing, got it on the bottom and got back to the gas sooner.
I talked about it earlier, BP. Been a long time since Kevin Harvick won a race. He's got one now, second to last of the season. For him.
Hornaday comes down, gives him a little bump of congratulations. Hornaday will drive for Harvick next year in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Kevin Harvick's second win of 2004, 19 races since his last win. And overall, his 13th NASCAR Busch Series victory. He's one of those guys that does good burnouts. That's the end of the season. Come on.
Yeah, they've got all winter to fix that motor.
What motor? It's history.
Here's another little Homestead twist for you. Kevin Harvick started 12th. It's the 6th of 10 Homestead NASCAR Busch Series races won by a guy who started outside the top 10.
And there's our 2004 NASCAR Busch Series champion, Mark Truex Jr.
What a job this young man has done. 24 years old, Miami, New Jersey, his hometown, second-generation racer. Talked about his dad last Saturday at Darlington when he locked up the championship. But when they started this 2004 season, Benny and Dale, they weren't even sure they were going to run all the races. They only planned to run 22 of the 34 races. They didn't have sponsorship for everything.
But they found out quickly just how good that this young man was.
Yeah.
Teresa Earnhardt, team owner with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Her daughter, Taylor Nicole, beside of her.
Yeah, nice to see him here. And I tell you, last week, wasn't that was a special feeling seeing Martin's dad there with him, and just really almost speechless. It meant that much to him. But as most of us know, what we find our kids doing and get to watch them means more to us than anything else.
Be the ball, Ricky. You were.
That's right.
So Kevin Harvick in victory lane at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And while we wait for him to get unstrapped, let's hear from the second place runner, Marty.
Well, Jamie, it looked like all those cautions at the end were not your friend.
No, I just, I had Kevin passed. I felt like just before the caution came out, like 3 or 4 times before, he just got really loose in. And I thought if I could ever get up on the outside of him, I'd get him. But, I got underneath him 3 or 4 times on restarts. I'd get down there, and he'd squeeze me down. I just got really loose getting in. But that's cool, man. We won 2 of the last 3 and finished second in the last one. So, really good day. And I'll tell you what, Rusty helped me out tremendous today. We weren't that good at the beginning, and we talked about all the adjustments we needed to make, and Rusty helped us out a bunch.
Alan?
Jamie McMurray finishing second as we head to the Reese's Victory Celebration. Kevin Harvick in the winner's circle at Homestead Miami Speedway.
And somehow I think Kevin Harvick is going to be... Are you okay with a Reese's Victory Lane celebration?
I tell you what, it's pretty awesome to... I forgot my coat, man.
Get that in physics right now.
It's pretty awesome to have such a great car. The ESGR car was awesome today, and I don't know what happened, but Jimmy Spencer got it in under yellow, and to have the car be that good all day is pretty awesome, this whole RCR team. So just want to thank the ESGR people for supporting this program, and we're representing the Coast Guard today, so we beat the active duty car, and that was our mission.
Kevin, you had spent 18 races since you won in this series. How big is it to you to get back here to Victory Lane?
Well, our stuff's been off this year, and Richard's given us everything we need, and we've just been off, so everybody's gone to work, and this is a new engine package, and just a lot of fun to drive today, so it's good to be back in Victory Lane.
Kevin Harvick, his 13th Busch Series win right here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Matt?
What a way to close out the year, Dave. Second, couple thirds. What did Mr. H tell you? Watch those 2 guys. They almost had something going on.
Yeah, they did. They're clean racers up there, though. Jamie won a few weeks back in Phoenix, and of course Kevin Harvick. He's pretty good all around anyway. So congrats to Kevin winning the race, and obviously Martin Truex for winning the championship. It's been a great year for the Lowe's Shopback Chevrolet, and without Pella, Briggs and Stratton, and of course, help me.
How about Kyle Busch, the driver? What a great year you've had.
It's been fun. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, the team is an